Welcome, brave souls, to another spine-tingling episode of Haunted Horizons. Tonight, we embark on a journey through the mist-laden streets and shadowed corners of Canada, uncovering the tales of 25 of the most haunted hotels in the country. These aren't just places to rest your head. They're sites where the past refuses to stay buried, where the echoes of the departed still linger in the halls. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for a night of ghostly encounters and dark legends. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel rises like a fortress of stone and timber in the heart of the Canadian Rockies, its turrets piercing the sky, its windows reflecting the surrounding peaks. Tourists arrive drawn by the breathtaking scenery and the promise of luxury. Yet beneath the grandeur of its architecture, the hotel harbors secrets that have whispered through its halls for over a century. The stories of ghosts and unexplained phenomena are so pervasive that even the most skeptical guests find themselves glancing over their shoulders, wondering if the shadows moving along the corridors are of this world or another. Perhaps the most famous apparition is the bride. Legend holds that, in the early 1900s, a young woman, radiant in her wedding gown, ascended the grand staircase to join her groom. Tragedy struck when she slipped on the marble steps, tumbling to her death. Guests and staff alike have reported seeing her figure in white at the top of the staircase or drifting through the halls, sometimes appearing near the ballroom as if reliving the moments she was denied. Some say that when the lights flicker late at night, it is her sorrowful presence seeking closure, her translucent form hovering just long enough to chill the spine. Another enduring presence is that of the bellman, known to have served the hotel faithfully for decades. His spirit is said to continue his work, appearing to guests in uniform to carry luggage. Even in empty hallways where no other staff are present, guests often recount polite nods from an invisible hand, the sensation of weight on the floor as suitcases seem to move themselves, and the faint scent of the cologne he was known to wear. While not malevolent, his presence is undeniable, a reminder of the lives that continue to echo within the hotel's walls. Room 873 holds a darker, more unsettling history. Once the scene of a brutal murder-suicide, the room was permanently sealed, yet the horror associated with it refuses to remain buried. Guests in nearby rooms have described sudden drops in temperature, the sound of muffled cries, and an oppressive feeling of dread that seems to seep through the very walls. Housekeeping staff sometimes speak of hearing furniture shift, of seeing shadows in the corners of the room where no one should be. Paranormal investigators visiting the hotel have captured cold spots and unexplained recordings, suggesting that the energy from that tragic night lingers, impossible to exorcise or ignore. The hotel's history is steeped in both grandeur and darkness. Built in 1888, the Banff Springs was designed as a luxury destination for tourists arriving via the Canadian Pacific Railway. Its construction was ambitious, and the stories of workers and guests who died during its early years have contributed to its haunted reputation. People often report hearing footsteps echoing along the long hallways late at night, though no one else is present. The faint clinking of glasses and the soft murmur of conversation are said to emanate from the grand dining rooms, as if the echoes of past guests refuse to fade, replaying their routines in the dim corridors of memory. Visitors have shared chilling personal encounters. Some describe feeling an icy brush on their arms or shoulders while alone in empty rooms. Others recount glimpsing shadowy figures in the periphery of their vision, vanishing when they attempt to look directly at them. The old elevators, still in use today, are rumored to stop on floors where no one has pressed a button, opening to reveal hallways that seem longer or darker than the rest of the hotel. Even the grand ballrooms, spaces of celebration and music, have reported disturbances, floating objects, sudden chills, and the unmistakable sensation of unseen eyes watching from the corners. Staff members often become witnesses to these supernatural events. Some have recounted objects moving on their own, lights flickering without explanation, and unexplained noises that cannot be traced to any source. Housekeepers have felt cold hands on their backs or shoulders, and maintenance workers have reported equipment malfunctioning in areas of high paranormal activity. Over time, a quiet understanding has developed. The Banff Springs is not just a hotel. It is a repository of memories, some joyful, some tragic, all lingering. The hotel's natural surroundings amplify its spectral atmosphere. The Canadian Rockies themselves hold an aura of mystery, their shadows long and twisting as night falls. The wind carries whispers through the open windows, rustling curtains in empty rooms, while the distant peaks seem to watch over the hotel, cloaked in mist. Guests often remark that the experience of staying at Banff Springs is as much about the mountains as it is about the building itself. Together, the architecture and the natural landscape create a setting where the veil between the living and the dead feels thin. Where spirits can move freely among the living, tourists drawn to the Banff Springs for its beauty sometimes leave with stories that will stay with them long after checkout. Many recount moments of unease, fleeting shadows in hallways, or sounds of activity in rooms they were told should be empty. Others, more daring, deliberately seek out the locations associated with ghostly activity. The grand staircase, where the bride fell, room 873, or the long corridors, where the bellman is often seen. For these guests, the hotel becomes a living mystery, a place where history and the supernatural intertwine in a tapestry of whispers, shadows, and fleeting glimpses. In the end, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel is more than just a luxury resort. It is a place where the past refuses to be forgotten, where the lives of those long gone continue to echo through opulent halls and lavish rooms. From the spectral bride to the devoted bellman, from the ominous energy of room 873 to the faint sounds of celebration long ended, the hotel exists as a bridge between the living and the dead. Guests leave with memories, not only of grandeur, but of a lingering presence, a sense that within these walls, the stories of the departed are very much alive, waiting for the next traveler to step through the doors. The Fairmont Royal York towers over downtown Toronto, its imposing facade, a blend of grandeur and history. Since opening its doors in 1929, it has welcomed royalty, dignitaries, and travelers from around the world. Its luxurious rooms and sweeping ballrooms speak to an era of elegance. But beneath the opulence lies a side of the hotel that few tourists see. A world where the past never truly leaves, and spirits roam the corridors unseen. For decades, guests and staff alike have whispered about unexplained phenomena, cold spots that appear without warning, objects moving without cause, and the constant feeling of being watched when no one is near. Among the many spectral figures said to haunt the Royal York, none is more well known than the gray-haired man, described as tall and dignified, dressed in an early 20th century suit. He appears silently in the halls, often near the elevators or long stretches of carpeted corridors. Witnesses report that when he is seen, an immediate chill fills the air, and the hair on the back of the neck stands on end. Guests often catch glimpses of him out of the corner of their eyes, only to find he has vanished when they turn their head. Staff who have worked the night shift tell of the sensation of his gaze following them, a weight of presence that defies explanation. Some believe he was a longtime employee or a distinguished guest who passed away within the hotel. Yet his story remains lost to time, leaving only the lingering impression of his silent wanderings. Room 428 has its own haunting reputation. Guests who have stayed there report sudden drops in temperature, accompanied by the sound of whispers so faint that they cannot make out the words. Some have awoken to find their belongings shifted or chairs pulled slightly away from tables. While these disturbances are subtle, they carry a weight that leaves many feeling uneasy. A sense that someone or something is observing them, yet leaving a tangible sense of unease in their wake. The elevators themselves have a reputation among those familiar with the Royal York's paranormal history. Guests report pressing the button for one floor only to find the elevator stopping at another, sometimes opening to reveal hallways that seem unusually long or dark, as if the hotel itself stretches beyond the physical layout. Some have felt invisible hands brush against their shoulders or tug at their luggage while riding, a reminder that not all who travel these halls are living. Despite modern renovations, These experiences persist, a testament to the hotel's enduring connection with its spectral residents. The hotel's restaurant and bar areas also carry stories of lingering spirits. Patrons have reported seeing a well-dressed man sitting alone at the end of the bar, only for him to vanish when approached. Waitstaff have occasionally felt cold fingers brush past them or heard the quiet clink of glassware falling to the floor in otherwise empty rooms. The recurring theme is subtlety of presence that does not scream, but makes itself known through small, unmistakable signs that something beyond the ordinary is at work. Even the outdoor areas around the hotel carry an aura of mystery. The driveway and entrance are sometimes bathed in inexplicable fog, and some guests report glimpsing shadowy figures moving along the curbside or through the grand archways, vanishing as quickly as they appear. On quiet nights, the wind seems to carry distant echoes of footsteps or low, indiscernible murmurs, as if the hotel itself breathes with memories of the past. For many visitors, the experience is both thrilling and unnerving, a reminder that the Royal York is not just a building, but a repository of history, and history, in this case, is not always at rest. The Royal York's reputation has persisted through decades, bolstered by both first-hand accounts and the stories passed down through staff generations. Tourists who enter, hoping only to enjoy luxury and comfort, sometimes find themselves drawn into a world of subtle unease, where a glance down a long corridor or a chill in the air might hint at an unseen companion. Staff members, from housekeepers to security personnel, speak of the hotel with a mix of reverence and caution, aware that while most visitors remain blissfully unaware, the building itself harbors presences that refuse to be ignored. For those seeking a glimpse of the unexplained, a stay at the Fairmont Royal York can be unforgettable. Whether it is the gray-haired man silently watching from a distance, the whispers that drift through room 428, or the fleeting shadows along the ballroom walls, the hotel provides more than comfort. It offers a direct encounter with the past, a reminder that some memories and some spirits refuse to fade quietly. Those who visit may leave with stories to tell, photographs that capture nothing but shadows, and a sense of awe at the persistent presence of the unseen. In the end, the Fairmont Royal York is more than just a luxurious landmark in Toronto. It is a living testament to the enduring interplay of history and the supernatural. The corridors echo with lives once lived, the halls shimmer with the remnants of celebrations long past, and the spirits within continue to remind all who enter that even the grandest hotels are not immune to the pull of the otherworldly. Guests and staff alike become part of an ongoing narrative, where the line between the living and the spectral blurs, and where a lingering gaze or a sudden chill can forever change the way one experiences this iconic hotel. The Fort Garry Hotel, a grand and imposing landmark in downtown Winnipeg, rises with the elegance of early 20th century architecture, its towering facade a testament to luxury and history. Since opening in 1913, the hotel has been a centerpiece of the city, hosting dignitaries, travelers, and celebrations. Yet beneath the lavish chandeliers, ornate staircases, and polished floors lies a layer of stories that speak to sorrow, tragedy, and lingering spirits. Among its many tales, none is as chilling as the story associated with Room 202, a room that has become synonymous with hauntings and unexplained phenomena. Room 202, according to local legend, was the site of a tragic incident early in the hotel's history. A woman, newly aware of her husband's sudden death, reportedly took her own life in the room, unable to cope with the grief that had overtaken her. Since that day, guests who have stayed in the room, more even nearby, claim to experience a series of unexplainable events. The most common reports include cold drafts that sweep through the room even with the windows closed, the sound of soft weeping, and furniture subtly moving, as though nudged by an unseen hand. Some guests awaken in the night to the faint scent of perfume lingering in the air, though no one else is present. Visitors have described seeing a shadowy figure near the bed, sometimes sitting silently, sometimes standing as if gazing at the empty room. Its features are indistinct, but many recognize it as a woman in early 20th century attire, her expression mournful and eyes full of sorrow. Several accounts mention that her presence is not aggressive, but profoundly unsettling, a reminder of grief that never fully dissipates. Housekeeping staff have corroborated similar experiences, reporting items misplaced, lights flickering, and the eerie sensation of being watched when they are alone in the room. The hotel's hallways, long and carpeted with rich patterns, have their own spectral stories. Guests often recount hearing faint footsteps echoing when the corridors are empty, or the soft clinking of dishes from the dining areas long after closing. These sounds seem to follow a rhythm, sometimes growing louder when someone is near, and fading when approached, giving the impression of a presence that is aware of the living yet remains just out of reach. Some describe glimpsing a shadow at the end of the hallway, vanishing when they attempt to get closer, leaving only the chill of the encounter behind. Even beyond room 202, the Fort Garry Hotel carries an air of lingering history. The grand lobby, with its marble floors and vaulted ceilings, has been the site of countless events, parties, and gatherings over the decades. Guests report hearing echoes of past festivities, faint laughter, or the distant sound of music that seems to drift from nowhere. Staff have noted sudden drops in temperature in certain corners, lights that flicker with no electrical explanation, and a general feeling of being observed, especially during the quieter hours of the night. Paranormal investigators who have visited the hotel have picked up anomalous readings in and around room 202. Temperature fluctuations, unexplained electromagnetic activity, and occasional electronic voice phenomena suggest that the energy associated with the tragic past may still linger. Some speculate that the woman's despair left an imprint on the space, a manifestation of grief so powerful that it continues to echo a century later. Guests who are sensitive to the paranormal often report vivid dreams or the sense of a presence standing at the foot of their bed, watching them sleep. Stories from longtime staff provide additional insight into the hotel's spectral activity. Housekeepers speak of doors opening and closing on their own, chairs shifting, and objects falling without cause. Maintenance personnel occasionally hear noises emanating from unoccupied rooms, while front desk clerks recount guests checking in with accounts of cold hands touching their shoulders, whispers in empty hallways, and fleeting glimpses of figures that dissolve before a closer look. While the Fort Garry continues to operate as a luxurious hotel, these stories are part of its identity, drawing curious travelers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Beyond the interior, the surrounding grounds contribute to the eerie atmosphere. The hotel sits near the confluence of the Red and Assiniboine rivers, and the winds sweeping across the open areas often carry whispers that seem to echo through the trees and along the facade. On stormy nights, the shadows cast by the hotel's ornate exterior seem to twist and shift unnaturally, creating the illusion of movement where none should exist. Guests walking outside after dark occasionally report a sense of being followed, a subtle unease that lingers even after leaving the property. Over the decades, the Fort Garry Hotel has welcomed thousands of visitors, some drawn by its history, some by its elegance, and some by the allure of its haunted reputation. Many return with stories to tell of unexplained noises, sudden chills, or fleeting visions in the corners of their rooms. The legend of Room 202 has persisted through generations, a tale woven into the very fabric of the hotel, reminding visitors that even the most luxurious spaces can harbor shadows of the past. For all its grandeur, the Fort Garry Hotel is more than just a historical landmark. It is a place where the line between past and present blurs. Guests who spend the night in its rooms are not only stepping into history, but into a world where sorrow, tragedy, and the echoes of lives once lived remain tangible. The spectral figure of the woman in room 202 serves as a constant reminder that some stories never truly end, lingering in the spaces where they unfolded, waiting for new witnesses to feel the weight of their presence. From the grand lobby to the haunted rooms, the Fort Garry Hotel continues to captivate and unsettle, a testament to the enduring interplay between luxury, history, and the unexplained. Visitors leave not only with memories of elegance, but with an awareness that within its walls, the past is never far away. Some spirits have chosen to remain, silently observing the world of the living. The Algonquin Resort in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, stands as an imposing and elegant structure, its medieval-inspired architecture evoking the grandeur of centuries past. Since its opening in 1889, it has welcomed guests seeking luxury, relaxation, and a glimpse into a bygone era. Its turrets, gables, and grand hallways speak of a time when travel was an experience of opulence. And yet, behind this beauty, the resort harbors a history layered with sorrow and mystery. For more than a century, guests and staff alike have whispered about strange occurrences, spectral sightings, and a pervasive sense that the past never truly leaves this stately hotel. Among the resort's many ghost stories, none is more well known than that of the jilted bride. According to legend, she was once a young woman set to be married at the resort, only to have her wedding abruptly canceled or disrupted in a tragic twist of fate. Heartbroken and overwhelmed by grief, she is said to have wandered the halls of the hotel in her wedding gown, her wails of sorrow echoing through the night. Guests have reported glimpsing her pale figure drifting through corridors, appearing at the top of staircases, or standing silently near doorways, as if waiting for someone who will never arrive. Her presence is not violent, but profoundly unsettling, a manifestation of grief and heartbreak that refuses to dissipate over time. Room 316, according to some accounts, seems to attract the bride's attention more than any other area of the hotel. Guests in or near this room have reported sudden drops in temperature, the sensation of cold hands brushing their arms, and objects inexplicably shifting or falling. Housekeeping staff have occasionally found furniture moved from its original position or chairs slightly pulled out from tables. Even when no one had entered the room, some visitors awake to soft sobbing or the faint sound of a wedding song played in reverse, untraceable to any source. The energy in these areas is described as heavy, melancholic, and distinct from the usual quiet of the resort at night. The main hallways of the Algonquin Resort, lined with polished wood and ornate wallpaper, are also frequent sites of unexplained phenomena. Guests often hear footsteps echoing along the corridors when no one else is present, and doors occasionally open or close without anyone touching them. Several have reported catching glimpses of fleeting shadows, too quick to fully identify, yet leaving a lingering feeling of being watched. Even during daylight hours, some visitors sense an unexplained chill, or an almost imperceptible shift in the atmosphere, as if the building itself remembers the sorrow that unfolded within its walls. Staff members are no strangers to the supernatural here. Servers in the dining rooms have recounted chairs sliding slightly away from tables, silverware shifting during service, and the faint creak of floors in empty rooms. Night security personnel often hear whispers in hallways where no one else is present, and some have reported feeling a presence at the top of the grand staircase or near elevator doors. For those who spend extended periods in the building, the sense of the bride's lingering grief becomes almost palpably quiet. Persistent sorrow that seems to watch, waiting, and never truly leaving. The resort's ballrooms, where elegant parties and grand events once filled the space with music and laughter, also hold echoes of the past. Guests and staff have reported faint sounds of instruments playing, the murmur of conversation, and even the distinct laughter of women dressed in attire from another era. Some claim to see ghostly figures gliding across the polished floors, dancing or lingering near corners, vanishing the moment anyone tries to approach. These apparitions are subtle but persistent, leaving a sense of unease alongside awe, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. The exterior of the Algonquin Resort contributes to its otherworldly reputation. The surrounding gardens, walkways, and open terraces are said to play host to shadows that appear and disappear among the hedges and trees. On foggy nights, the lights of the resort seem to flicker in unison with invisible movements within, and some visitors report seeing a pale figure standing at a window, staring out toward the sea or the distant horizon. Even the wind seems charged with an unusual presence. carrying faint whispers through the grand archways and around the stone facade. Guests often describe their stays as a mixture of wonder and apprehension. Many come for the historical charm, the coastal views, and the luxurious accommodations, yet find themselves unnerved by small, inexplicable occurrences. A sudden cold draft, a softly closing door, or a whisper in the hallway can transform the experience from a simple getaway into an encounter with the lingering echoes of the past. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Algonquin have noted cold spots, electronic voice phenomena, and unusual readings in areas associated with the bride's presence, lending further credence to the stories that have circulated for generations. The Algonquin Resort remains a destination where history and the supernatural intertwine. Its grand halls, ornate rooms, and sweeping staircases serve as a stage for the interplay between beauty and sorrow, past and present. The legend of the jilted bride endures, her ghostly form, a reminder of love lost, grief unhealed, and the power of memories that refuse to fade. Visitors leave with tales of chills, fleeting glimpses, and the persistent feeling of being watched, memories that remain long after they step beyond the hotel's doors. In the end, the Algonquin Resort is more than a luxurious getaway or a historic landmark. It is a place where the past persists in subtle, chilling ways, where sorrow and tragedy echo through time, and where a ghostly bride continues her silent vigil. Those who enter its grand doors may find themselves walking in the company of the unseen, sensing the weight of history in every hallway, every room, and every whispered shadow, waiting for the next visitor to feel the presence of a grief that refuses to rest. The Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City is an icon of Canadian architecture, its steeply pitched roofs, turrets, and grand facade dominating the skyline along the St. Lawrence River. Built in the late 19th century, this luxurious hotel has long attracted royalty, dignitaries, and travelers from around the world, offering sweeping views of the river and the historic streets below. Yet, beneath its celebrated elegance and romantic charm lies a darker, less visible side, one marked by spectral sightings and unexplained phenomena that have captured the imaginations of guests and staff alike. Among the many stories associated with the chateau, the legend of the woman in white remains the most persistent and chilling. According to local lore, the woman in white is believed to be the spirit of a former guest who died under mysterious circumstances within the hotel. Her presence has been reported across multiple floors and in hallways overlooking the St. Lawrence, and she is most often described as wearing a flowing white gown. Her features pale and distant, her gaze fixed on the horizon as if awaiting someone who will never return. Many guests who encounter her speak of a sudden chill in the air, a heavy stillness that descends upon the room or corridor, as though the past momentarily asserts itself over the present. The apparition is rarely aggressive, but its melancholy presence can leave an enduring sense of unease, a reminder that tragedy and longing can linger far longer than a single lifetime. Visitors to the chateau have shared accounts of seeing her standing at windows, staring silently at the river, her eyes reflecting a sorrow that is almost tangible. Others have reported glimpsing her moving through the hallways at night, her white gown trailing behind her. Footsteps so light they make no sound, yet leave a sensation of being followed. Some claim to have witnessed her appear suddenly in an empty corridor, vanishing the instant one approaches, leaving behind only a faint perfume, like a floral bouquet long past its prime, lingering in the air. Housekeeping staff occasionally find rooms perfectly tidy, only to notice items subtly shifted or the feeling of being watched when no one else is present. Room 622, according to some accounts, is particularly associated with the woman in white. Guests who have stayed in this room often report sudden temperature drops, soft whispers that cannot be traced, and the sensation of unseen hands brushing against them. Some awaken to find the room seemingly unchanged, yet with an oppressive sense that another presence has occupied the space during the night. Others have felt compelled to leave the room earlier than planned, unsettled by a force they cannot explain but feel with certainty. Despite the hotel's luxurious accommodations, the persistent aura surrounding certain rooms and corridors has become part of the chateau's enduring mystique. The hotel's grand lobby and public spaces are also sites of inexplicable occurrences. Guests have reported seeing fleeting shadows cross the edges of their vision, only to vanish when looked at directly. The ornate staircases, polished floors, and sweeping arches sometimes seem to carry voices from the past's soft conversations, laughter, or the distant strains of piano music from an unseen source. On quieter evenings, the faintest echoes of past events, weddings, banquets, and celebrations appear to linger in the air, as though the chateau itself is replaying fragments of its long history. Even staff have described sudden drops in temperature in certain corridors, lights flickering without explanation, and the subtle sensation that someone is moving just out of sight. Guests who explore the hotel at night occasionally report more vivid experiences. In dimly lit hallways, the air can grow heavy and suffocating, while the sound of footsteps or soft whispers seems to follow them. Some have seen doors open and close slowly on their own, or felt a hand brush against theirs when no one is present. The stories of the woman in white have been told for decades, with each account reinforcing her presence in the collective memory of the hotel. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Chateau Frontenac have noted unusual electromagnetic readings, temperature fluctuations, and unexplained visual anomalies, further lending weight to the many personal experiences recounted by visitors. The woman in white is not the only spirit reported at the Chateau Frontenac, but her presence is among the most compelling. Other tales speak of shadows flitting along the upper corridors, sudden chills in rooms previously warmed by sunlight, and glimpses of figures that vanish before recognition. Yet it is the solitary, sorrowful figure of the woman in white, gazing eternally toward the St. Lawrence, that remains the most enduring image of the chateau's haunted past. She embodies longing, tragedy, and the persistence of memory, reminding guests that even in spaces of beauty and luxury, the past can remain vividly alive. For more than a century, the Chateau Frontenac has been a symbol of Quebec City's elegance and history. But its reputation as a haunted site adds another layer to its identity, one that intertwines luxury with the mysterious and unexplained. Visitors leave not only with memories of stunning architecture and breathtaking views, but with an awareness of the unseen residents who continue to occupy its halls. The legend of the woman in white endures, a spectral presence that moves quietly through corridors, windows, and rooms, a reminder of a life cut short and a sorrow that remains. The Old Angel Inn in Niagara-on-Lake, Ontario, stands as one of the province's most historic establishments, its weathered walls and timbers echoing over 2 centuries of history. Established in 1789, this inn has witnessed generations of patrons, travelers, and soldiers, serving as both a gathering place and a witness to the region's turbulent past. Yet beneath the rustic charm and welcoming atmosphere lies a darker layer of history, a haunting presence that has become a defining part of the Old Angel's identity. Visitors and staff alike have shared tales of unexplained phenomena, spectral sightings, and sounds that seem to originate from another time, all pointing to the enduring presence of one figure in particular. Captain Colin Swayze. Captain Swayze was a British officer who served during the War of 1812. Stationed in the Niagara region at a time of intense conflict. According to local accounts, he met his end under circumstances shrouded in tragedy. The details lost to time, but the memory of his service and death lingering strongly in the inn. Ever since, guests have reported sightings of a tall, imposing figure dressed in a uniform of a British officer, his presence unmistakable even in the dim light of the pub. Many describe an overwhelming sense of being watched, a silent vigilance that seems rooted in duty and the weight of a life lived in service and sacrifice. The most commonly reported phenomena at the Old Angel Inn center around the piano in the pub's lounge. Guests have heard music playing in the quiet hours of the night, the notes rising and falling as if someone was seated at the keys, yet no one is present. Occasionally, the melody is incomplete, interrupted by sudden pauses or a discordant note, lending a ghostly quality to the familiar tunes. Some who have experienced it speak of a lingering chill, a sensation of cold air flowing across the room, even when the fireplace burns warmly. Those who listen closely sometimes report faint footsteps accompanying the music. The sound of boots moving across the wooden floors in a deliberate, measured cadence. The inn's hallways and staircases have their own stories to tell. Patrons and staff have heard the unmistakable sound of boots marching up and down corridors, doors opening and closing without explanation, and soft echoes of commands or orders in voices that cannot be traced. Some guests claim to see fleeting glimpses of a uniformed figure in their peripheral vision, disappearing the moment they turn to look directly. Others have reported objects moving subtly on tables or shelves, as if arranged by an unseen hand. While none of these occurrences are overtly malevolent, they carry a weight, a reminder that the past is never truly gone and that some presences are bound to the locations where they once lived or served. Room 7 in particular has garnered attention among visitors seeking the inn's more spectral stories. Guests who have stayed in this room often speak of sudden temperature drops, strange noises in the middle of the night, and the sense of an unseen presence lingering near the bed. Some awaken to find personal items moved, chairs slightly askew, or the faint impression of someone standing at the foot of the bed. While skeptics may attribute these events to imagination or the building settling, the consistency of the reports over decades suggests something more, an enduring connection between the inn and its long-departed occupants, particularly Captain Swayze. Even during daytime hours, the Old Angel Inn seems to carry an awareness of its past. The creak of old floorboards, the soft sigh of wind through gaps in the timbers, and the occasional sound of distant footsteps combine to create an atmosphere thick with history. Staff who have worked at the inn for many years speak of times when they feel watched, particularly when alone in the quiet corners or stairwells. Patrons sometimes report a sudden drop in temperature, a fleeting shadow, or a soft, nearly imperceptible whisper, each event leaving a lingering impression that something unseen remains present in the building. The pub's lounge, with its worn wooden floors, antique furnishings, and dimly lit ambience, provides the perfect stage for the spectral presence. Guests often feel as though the room itself is alive with memories. The echoes of laughter, conversations, and music from centuries past intertwining with the ghostly piano playing that has become synonymous with Captain Swayze. Some have described the sensation of being part of a historical tableau, as if stepping into a moment frozen in time, with the captain himself silently observing from a distance, ever vigilant. Despite the haunting, the Old Angel Inn remains a beloved destination, drawing visitors not only for its historic charm and culinary offerings, but also for the allure of its ghostly tales. The legend of Captain Colin Swayze has become an integral part of the inn's identity, captivating the imagination of those who seek a connection to the past and an encounter with the unexplained. Paranormal enthusiasts often attempt to capture evidence of his presence through photography, audio recordings, or EMF readings, and many claim to have felt the unmistakable touch of a history that refuses to rest. The Old Angel Inn is more than a historic building. It is a living repository of stories, memories, and lingering spirits. Its walls have witnessed centuries of joy, sorrow, and conflict, and in some cases, these echoes continue to manifest in subtle but undeniable ways. Guests leave with more than a meal or a night's stay. They carry stories of footsteps in empty hallways, the gentle strains of a spectral piano, and the haunting figure of a soldier bound to the inn by duty, loyalty, and the unresolved events of a life cut short. In the end, the Old Angel Inn is a place where history and the supernatural meet, where the ordinary and the inexplicable intertwine. For those who visit, the experience is more than hospitality. It is a brush with the past, a moment in which the echoes of Captain Swayze and the countless others who walked these floors can still be felt, heard, and, for a fleeting moment, seen. Here, the story of a haunted inn is alive, waiting for the next visitor to hear the distant march of boots, the soft music of a piano, and the silent watch of a soldier who refuses to be forgotten. Auberge-le-Saint-Gabriel, located in the heart of Old Montreal, is more than just a historic inn. It is a living piece of North American history. Established in 1754, it holds the distinction of being the oldest inn on the continent to maintain a continuous alcohol license. And its centuries-old walls have borne witness to countless travelers, celebrations, and the quiet passage of time. But beneath its celebrated charm and bustling activity lies a haunting story, one that has been whispered among staff and visitors for generations. The inn is said to be home to the spirit of a young girl who perished in a fire long ago, and her presence lingers, subtly coloring the atmosphere with sorrow, mystery, and the faint echo of tragedy. According to local accounts, the young girl was trapped in the building during a fire that swept through the inn in the 18th century. The details of the incident remain unclear, but the impact of her death has reverberated across the decades. Many who have visited the inn describe an intangible presence, a sense of something unseen observing their movements. Guests often report hearing the faint sound of a child's cries echoing down hallways, particularly late at night or in empty corridors. The sound is soft, mournful, and distinct, as if the spirit is eternally replaying her final moments, reaching out in a world that no longer responds. The haunting at Auberge la Saint-Gabriel is not limited to auditory experiences. Visitors have described unusual sensations as they walk through the historic inn. Some feel a sudden chill when passing certain rooms or corridors, the air dropping inexplicably, even on warm summer nights. Others have noticed doors opening or closing on their own, or objects slightly displaced from their original positions. While these occurrences are subtle and fleeting, they carry a weight that is difficult to ignore, particularly in a building steeped in centuries of history and memory. One of the most frequently mentioned phenomena involves the faint smell of smoke. Guests have reported detecting the scent of burning wood or charred fabric, even though no fire is present, and the inn has passed modern safety inspections. The aroma often appears suddenly, lingering for a few moments, before fading entirely, leaving a sense of unease in its wake. This olfactory echo, combined with the cries of the young girl, creates a haunting impression that the tragedy of the past is still very much alive within the inn's walls. Staff members have also recounted experiences that suggest the girl's presence is not merely a figment of imagination. Housekeepers, bartenders, and servers occasionally report hearing footsteps when no one is present, the subtle patter of small shoes moving across the wooden floors. Some have sensed a fleeting shadow out of the corner of their eye, only to find nothing upon turning to look directly. The inn's historic architecture, with its narrow hallways, stone walls, and hidden corners, seems to amplify these sensations, creating an atmosphere in which the past and present overlap in unsettling ways. Visitors who stay overnight sometimes feel the girl's presence more acutely. Some describe feeling a gentle tug at a sleeve or a light brush against their arm, a touch that is not frightening but undeniably real. Others wake in the middle of the night to hear soft sobbing or faint whispers, their source untraceable. The experiences are rarely aggressive, but they carry a melancholy that leaves a lasting impression. Guests often leave the inn with stories of the unseen child, a spectral reminder of lives cut short and the enduring impact of tragedy. The inn's dining and public spaces have their own share of spectral activity. Guests have reported the soft laughter of a child in rooms otherwise filled with silence, or the faint sound of footsteps following them as they move through the historic halls. Some have claimed to see fleeting glimpses of a small figure moving quickly out of sight, always just beyond clear vision. The combination of auditory, visual, and tactile phenomena has contributed to Auberge la Saint-Gabriel's reputation as one of Montreal's most haunted locations, attracting visitors interested in both history and the supernatural. Despite the haunting, the inn remains a vibrant and welcoming destination. Its historic charm, exquisite architecture, and central location make it a popular spot for tourists, locals, and history enthusiasts alike. Yet the stories of the young girl's spirit add a layer of intrigue, a reminder that the inn's walls have witnessed not only celebrations and daily inner life, but also moments of sorrow and loss that continue to resonate across time. Many reports capturing unexplained sounds, fleeting shadows, or unusual temperature fluctuations, reinforcing the tales shared by generations of guests and staff. Whether these experiences are interpreted as supernatural or as echoes of history. They form a compelling narrative that continues to captivate those who enter the inn. Auberge la Saint-Gabriel is at once a place of hospitality and a repository of memory. Its historic walls hold centuries of stories, some joyful, some tragic, and some inexplicably mysterious. The young girl who perished in the fire remains a quiet, lingering presence, reminding visitors that history is not always confined to books or photographs. Her spirit, with its cries, fleeting touches, and lingering scent of smoke, serves as a bridge to the past, an ever-present witness to the unfolding life of one of North America's oldest and most storied inns. The Queen Victoria Inn, located in the historic town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, is a charming testament to 19th-century architecture. Its brick facade, ornate woodwork, and period furnishings create an atmosphere of warmth and nostalgia, attracting travelers who wish to experience a touch of history alongside modern comfort. Yet, behind the inn's inviting appearance lies a history marked by mystery and spectral encounters. Guests and staff alike have reported experiences that defy explanation, pointing to a lingering presence that seems to be tied to the inn's pastor spirit, whose story is intertwined with the building as history and the town itself. The inn is said to be haunted by the spirit of a former owner who died under mysterious circumstances. While the details of this individual's death remain uncertain, the legacy of their presence continues to manifest in subtle but undeniable ways. Guests often describe feeling a sudden, inexplicable chill when walking down certain hallways, as if the air itself carries the memory of someone unseen. Others report an overwhelming sensation of being watched, even in empty corridors or vacant rooms. The presence is not malevolent, but there is an unmistakable weight, a reminder that the inn's walls are not empty, but saturated with echoes of the past. Footsteps are one of the most commonly reported phenomena at the Queen Victoria Inn. Guests have heard the distinct sound of shoes tapping along wooden floors when no one else is present. The pace varies, sometimes a slow, deliberate march, other times quick, fleeting steps that seem to pass by and vanish in an instant. Many describe pausing mid-step themselves, straining to hear the source, only for the sound to disappear as suddenly as it arrived. These auditory encounters often leave visitors with a mixture of unease and fascination, as though the inn itself is quietly reminding them that its history is alive in a very literal sense. Doors opening and closing on their own is another frequent occurrence. Patrons report sudden slams or creaks that cannot be attributed to drafts or structural settling, and some doors have been known to swing gently as if pushed by an invisible hand. Staff members have shared experiences of entering rooms to find doors ajar or objects slightly displaced, creating a sense of movement within spaces that should otherwise remain undisturbed. These phenomena are often accompanied by the feeling of presence, a subtle, almost imperceptible sensation that someone unseen is nearby, observing or interacting with the environment. Rooms throughout the inn have their own spectral reputations. Some visitors note sudden changes in temperature, with cold spots forming in specific corners or near certain pieces of furniture. Others report hearing whispers or faint murmurs when no one else is around. In one particularly well-known room, guests have described seeing the shadowy outline of a figure just beyond their field of vision, vanishing when they turn to look directly. These experiences are not constant, but they occur often enough that the Queen Victoria Inn has earned a reputation among paranormal enthusiasts as a location rich with unexplained activity. Even the inn's public spaces, such as the lounge and dining areas, carry a sense of lingering presence. Patrons have occasionally felt a soft brush against their arms or shoulders, though no one is nearby. Others report hearing distant voices or the faint echo of conversations that do not correspond with anyone currently in the room. The combination of these subtle touches, whispers, and movements gives the inn a unique atmosphere, one where the boundaries between past and present, the living and the unseen, seem to blur. Visitors who embrace the inn's haunted reputation often leave with stories that reinforce its spectral narrative. Some describe waking in the middle of the night to hear footsteps pacing the hallways or faint whispers calling their names. Others recount seeing shadows moving across walls or glimpsing the outline of a figure standing silently near the staircase. While these experiences vary in intensity, the consistency of reports over decades suggests that the Queen Victoria Inn is more than just a historic building. It is a place where memories, energy, and perhaps the lingering spirit of its former owner remain woven into the fabric of the structure. Staff members, too, have shared accounts that echo the experiences of guests. Housekeepers and maintenance workers sometimes report sudden cold drafts or the sensation of being followed through hallways. Some have observed objects moving or doors opening without explanation. While they approach their work with professionalism, many admit to moments of unease, aware that the inn's history is present in ways that cannot always be rationalized. This awareness fosters a sense of respect for the building's past, as well as a fascination with the stories that have emerged from its long history. Despite its ghostly associations, the Queen Victoria Inn continues to welcome guests with warmth and hospitality. The inn's combination of historic charm, modern comfort, and spectral intrigue makes it a popular destination for tourists, history buffs, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Visitors leave not only with memories of cozy rooms and picturesque surroundings, but also with the lingering impression of having encountered something beyond the ordinary, a subtle connection to a spirit that refuses to be forgotten. The Fairmont Chateau Laurier in Ottawa, Ontario, stands as a grand testament to Canada's architectural elegance and historical prestige. Perched near the banks of the Rideau Canal, its castle-like facade, turrets, and ornate stonework make it one of the most iconic hotels in the country. For more than a century, it has hosted royalty, dignitaries, and travelers from across the globe. Yet, beyond the polished marble floors and crystal chandeliers, there exists a story that is far less celebrated, a story of lingering spirits, unexplained phenomena, and a presence that has captivated visitors for decades. At the center of the hotel's haunting lore is the figure of a woman in a white gown. According to legend, she was a guest who tragically died within the walls of the hotel, though the exact circumstances remain shrouded in mystery. Some say she was a bride awaiting her wedding. Others claim she was a guest who suffered a sudden illness or fatal accident. Regardless of the details, her spirit is said to roam the halls, wandering the corridors as though searching for something forever lost. Guests and staff have recounted seeing her apparition drifting silently, her gown flowing and her presence marked by an ethereal glow that seems out of place in the warm, historic interiors of the hotel. Encounters with the woman in white are often subtle at first. Guests might catch a glimpse of a figure at the end of a hallway, only to find that she has vanished when approached. Some describe the sensation of being watched or followed, even when alone in their rooms or walking the quiet corridors late at night. Staff members report doors opening and closing without explanation, lights flickering unexpectedly, and cold drafts sweeping through spaces that are otherwise warm. These disturbances are generally non-threatening, yet they leave a lingering sense that the hotel is inhabited by something beyond the ordinary. Several areas of the Fairmont Chateau Laurier are particularly associated with the haunting. The grand staircases, often empty in the late hours, are places where guests have reported seeing the woman descend or ascend, her movement silent yet unmistakable. The long hallways on upper floors sometimes carry faint sounds, soft footsteps, a rustle of fabric, or a gentle sigh that appear to have no origin. In some rooms, guests have felt a sudden drop in temperature or the sensation of a presence lingering just beyond sight. Even in the hotel's public spaces, such as the lobby and lounges, visitors have occasionally glimpsed shadows that do not correspond to any person, or seen doors swing open as if guided by an unseen hand. Many accounts emphasize the emotional quality of the haunting. Witnesses often describe the apparition as sorrowful or restless rather than malevolent. There is a sense that she is searching, reaching for something lost in life, and that her presence is tied not to anger or malice, but to unfinished business or unresolved grief. Guests have reported moments where the air seems heavy, a quiet tension pressing against them as if the spirit's longing is palpable. The stories suggest that her haunting is not random. It is tied to memory, emotion, and the rich history of the hotel itself. The haunting at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier is not limited to visual and tactile experiences. Guests have reported faint whispers in empty rooms, voices just below the threshold of hearing, or the impression of a conversation happening nearby when no one else is present. Some claim to have felt a light touch on their shoulder or hand, gentle and fleeting, while others have noticed objects subtly shifting in place. These experiences are often accompanied by a distinct feeling of being observed or guided. A reminder that the hotel is more than a historic building. It is a living space where the past and present intersect in unexpected ways. Paranormal enthusiasts have long been drawn to the Chateau Laurier. Many visitors armed with cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors report capturing anomalies, faint shadows in the corner of a room, unexplained temperature fluctuations, or soft, unidentifiable sounds. Whether these are manifestations of a restless spirit or the echoes of the hotel's storied past, they contribute to a growing legend that has become part of the Fairmont's identity. Guests often find themselves not only enjoying the luxury and history of the hotel, but also experiencing a brush with something beyond the ordinary. Despite its spectral inhabitants, the Fairmont Chateau Laurier remains a prestigious and welcoming destination. Its combination of architectural beauty, central location, and historical significance continues to attract visitors from around the world. Yet, for those attuned to the subtler aspects of the hotel's atmosphere, the presence of the woman in white adds a layer of intrigue and mystery. The hotel is not just a place to rest. It is a bridge between eras, a space where history lingers and spirits persist. For many, the encounters at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier leave a lasting impression. Guests leave with stories of ghostly sightings, unexplained noises, and a sense of having shared the space with someone from another time. Staff members carry their own experiences, acknowledging that the hotel is alive in ways that go beyond architecture or design. The legend of the woman in white has become an integral part of the hotel's identity, a reminder that even in the heart of a bustling city, history can manifest in the most unexpected ways. The Fairmont Chateau Laurier is more than just a historic hotel. It is a keeper of memories, some joyful, some tragic, and some steeped in mystery. The presence of the woman in white serves as a poignant reminder that the past is never truly gone. Her apparition, with its silent movements and sorrowful longing, continues to wander the halls, searching for what was lost, ensuring that her story endures alongside the grand history of Canada's capital. Visitors are left with the understanding that the Chateau Laurier is not only a monument to elegance and luxury, but also a place where the unseen still walks, quietly reminding us that some spirits never leave. The Prince of Wales Hotel, situated in the historic town of Niagara-on-Tholic, Ontario, has welcomed visitors for over a century and a half. Built in 1864, its elegant Victorian architecture and charming interiors evoke a bygone era, attracting travelers seeking history, luxury, and the ambience of old-world hospitality. Yet, beneath the warmth and grandeur lies a legacy of mystery and unexplained phenomena. The hotel's reputation for hauntings has grown over the decades, with numerous guests and staff reporting experiences that cannot be easily explained. Among the most enduring stories is that of a spirit believed to be a former guest who died under mysterious circumstances, forever tethered to the hallways and rooms of the hotel. The haunting at the Prince of Wales Hotel is often subtle, beginning with small disturbances that hint at a presence just beyond the ordinary. Guests have reported hearing footsteps echoing along hallways when no one else is around, or the soft creak of a door opening and closing on its own. These sounds are frequently accompanied by the sensation of being observed, as though an unseen pair of eyes is following their movements. Visitors describe a chill in the air, sometimes localized to certain areas, which seems to linger long after they have moved on. Such encounters, though not physically threatening, carry a palpable tension, a reminder that the hotel harbors secrets beyond its historical walls. The figure most frequently reported is an apparition seen in the corridors. Guests describe a shadowy presence, sometimes faintly illuminated by the ambient light of the hall, appearing briefly at the end of a hallway or vanishing as they approach. While the identity of this spirit remains unknown, local lore suggests it may be tied to a tragic death that occurred within the hotel. The circumstances surrounding the guest's demise are vague, adding to the eerie allure of the legend. Some speculate that the spirit is restless, repeating actions from life or seeking resolution to events that ended too abruptly. Witnesses often describe a feeling of sadness or melancholy associated with the apparition, reinforcing the notion that this presence is not malevolent but trapped in a liminal state between worlds. Auditory phenomena are particularly common at the Prince of Wales. Guests frequently hear whispers in empty hallways or voices that seem to float just out of reach. Some report hearing the clink of glassware or the rustle of fabric when no one is near, as if echoes of past guests are still enacting their routines. Even staff members, familiar with the hotel's layout and creaking infrastructure, have been unsettled by sounds they cannot explain. Housekeepers sometimes speak of objects slightly moved or doors left ajar, creating an impression of movement and activity where none should exist. The cumulative effect of these incidents fosters an atmosphere where the line between the present and the past feels thin, and the hotel's history appears to resonate in the very air. Certain rooms and areas of the hotel carry particularly strong reputations for paranormal activity. Longtime employees and repeat guests note that the upper floors, where the hotel's more private suites are located, seem to experience the highest frequency of sightings and strange occurrences. Cold spots, sudden drafts, and the sensation of being touched lightly have all been reported, though no physical explanation is evident. Visitors sometimes wait to find the room unusually quiet, or feel an unseen presence lingering at the foot of their bed. These experiences, though inconsistent, create a sense of anticipation, a mix of fascination and unease that has become part of the Prince of Wales' identity as a haunted destination. Despite these eerie occurrences, the hotel continues to operate as a welcoming and luxurious retreat. Guests are drawn not only to the historic charm and picturesque surroundings of Niagara-on-Lake, but also to the allure of experiencing a place where the past lingers in more than just memory. Paranormal enthusiasts often seek out the hotel specifically for its spectral reputation, hoping to witness or document unexplained phenomena. Cameras, audio recorders, and even electromagnetic sensors have occasionally captured anomalies, shadows, fleeting shapes, or sudden temperature changes, though the true cause remains a matter of speculation. For many, these encounters are a thrilling complement to the hotel's elegant design and rich history. The Prince of Wales Hotel embodies the intersection of history and the supernatural. Its Victorian architecture, antique furnishings, and historic location create a sense of continuity with the past. While its hauntings serve as a reminder that history is not always silent, the experiences of guests and staff alike suggest that the spirit of the former guest has left an enduring impression, one that continues to interact with the living in subtle yet undeniable ways. Whether glimpsed in a fleeting shadow, sensed as a cold draft, or heard in whispers along the corridors, this presence adds an additional layer of intrigue to the hotel's already storied reputation. For visitors, the Prince of Wales Hotel is more than a place to stay. It is a living narrative where the past is interwoven with the present. Guests leave not only with memories of comfort, luxury, and scenic surroundings, but also with stories of the unexplained, sensations of an unseen observer, and glimpses of a presence that refuses to be forgotten. The legend of the haunting, the footsteps, whispers, and ghostly figure ensures that the hotel's history is felt in a very tangible way, bridging the gap between centuries and creating an experience that is uniquely captivating. In the end, the Prince of Wales Hotel stands as a testament to the enduring nature of memory and spirit. Its walls, hallways, and rooms carry more than stories. They carry echoes of lives once lived, and perhaps the ongoing presence of a spirit still searching for resolution. Guests who walk these corridors leave with the knowledge that the hotel is not only a historic landmark, but also a place where the unseen lingers, quietly reminding all who enter that the past never truly disappears. The Lord Elgin Hotel, situated in the heart of downtown Ottawa, Ontario, has been a landmark of elegance and hospitality since its opening in 1941. Its central location, near Parliament Hill, the Rideau Canal, and numerous historic sites makes it a favorite among tourists, diplomats, and government officials. The hotel's classic architecture, polished marble floors, and refined interiors evoke a sense of timeless sophistication. Yet beneath its polished facade lies a history that intertwines with the supernatural, creating a reputation for ghostly encounters that has intrigued visitors for decades. The most commonly reported experiences at the Lord Elgin Hotel are auditory in nature. Guests often speak of hearing footsteps echoing along empty corridors, knocking on doors when no one is present, and doors opening or closing without explanation. These occurrences are frequently subtle at first, a faint creak, a muted tap, but they often grow more pronounced as the evening deepens. Some visitors report waking in the middle of the night to the sound of someone pacing outside their rooms, only to find the hallway completely empty when they investigate. Staff members have corroborated similar experiences, acknowledging that the hotel, despite its modern renovations, retains a certain unexplained energy in its older sections. Shadowy figures are another hallmark of the Lord Elgin's haunted reputation. Guests have described seeing dark silhouettes moving in the corridors, sometimes pausing at the end of a hallway before disappearing into the walls. The figures are rarely detailed, often appearing as vague forms that seem both human and indistinct, leaving witnesses with a lingering sense of unease. Some have reported seeing these shapes vanish when approached directly, as if the presence is aware of being observed but cannot interact directly. The experience is often accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature, a cold draft that seems impossible in the well-heated building, further heightening the sense of otherworldly activity. Several specific areas of the hotel have gained notoriety for paranormal activity. Upper floors, particularly rooms at the ends of long hallways, are frequently mentioned in reports. Guests staying in these areas sometimes experience objects moving on their own, faint voices, or the sensation of an unseen hand brushing past them. Housekeeping staff have occasionally discovered items slightly out of place, or hear subtle noises that cannot be attributed to other guests. Even in public spaces, such as the lobby or the hotel's dining areas, there are reports of sudden, inexplicable chills or the feeling of being observed, though no one else is present. While some of the hotel's spectral activity is unsettling, many describe it as more melancholic than malevolent. Guests often sense a presence that is aware but not aggressive, a lingering echo of the hotel's past occupants or events. Some theorists believe that the spirits are former staff or long-gone visitors, whose lives were entwined with the building over the decades. Others suggest that the hotel sits on a kind of liminal space where the past and present converge, allowing residual energy to manifest in subtle yet undeniable ways. This interpretation fits with the variety of reports. A combination of footsteps, whispers, shadowy figures, and temperature anomalies that seem connected to the building's long and layered history. Paranormal investigators and enthusiasts are drawn to the Lord Elgin Hotel for precisely these reasons. Many bring cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors in hopes of capturing evidence of supernatural activity. Some report recording unexplained noises or fleeting shadows on video, while others detect minor fluctuations in temperature or electrical anomalies. Whether these occurrences are truly paranormal or simply the result of environmental factors, they contribute to the hotel's aura of mystery and intrigue. Guests often leave not only with memories of the city, but also with a sense that the hotel holds secrets that are felt as much as they are seen. The Lord Elgin Hotel's haunted reputation adds an unusual layer to its historic significance. Its location in Ottawa, a city filled with political history and iconic architecture, makes the hotel more than a place to sleep. becomes a living connection to the past. The spirits, if they exist, serve as reminders of the countless individuals who have passed through its doors. WHETHER, dignitaries, travelers, or employees. Their lingering presence ties the contemporary experience of staying at the hotel to decades of human history, creating an atmosphere that is at once elegant, mysterious, and slightly eerie. Many guests report that their experiences at the Lord Elgin are memorable precisely because they blend seamlessly with the hotel's refined ambience. It is not the type of haunting that is immediately terrifying or violent. Instead, it is subtle, quiet, and lingering. A shadow at the end of a hallway, the sound of footsteps in the night, or the inexplicable chill of a room all contribute to an awareness that the past has not entirely faded. For some, these encounters are a source of fascination and wonder rather than fear, turning a routine stay into a story that is shared with friends and family long after leaving Ottawa. Ultimately, the Lord Elgin Hotel stands as a testament to the way history and memory can inhabit spaces. Its halls and rooms are not merely functional. They carry echoes of lives once lived, moments of joy, sorrow, and mystery. Whether or not the ghostly phenomena are real, the stories persist, passed down by guests and staff who have experienced or heard of them. The hotel remains a vibrant, welcoming destination. Yet it is impossible to ignore the sense that it is inhabited by more than just living guests. The whispers, footsteps, and shadows serve as a reminder that the past lingers, quietly asserting its presence in a building that has seen more than a century of human activity. For visitors to Ottawa, a stay at the Lord Elgin Hotel is an experience that combines history, luxury, and a brush with the unexplained. The hotel's ghostly encounters, footsteps echoing in empty corridors, doors opening on their own, and shadowy figures that vanish when approached offer a subtle thrill alongside the comfort of elegant accommodations. In the end, the Lord Elgin is more than a hotel. It is a living piece of Ottawa's history, where the past is never truly gone, and the unseen may still walk the halls. The King Edward Hotel, located in the bustling heart of Toronto, Ontario, has long been a symbol of elegance, luxury, and Canadian history. Opened in 1903, this iconic establishment has hosted royalty, politicians, and countless visitors seeking opulent accommodations. Its grand ballrooms, ornate chandeliers, and lavish suites speak to a time when hospitality was an art form. Yet beneath the hotel's polished exterior and stately charm lies a history tinged with mystery and the unexplained. For over a century, guests and staff have reported experiences that suggest that King Edward is not just a home for the living, but also a residence for spirits who refuse to depart. The most famous of these ghostly residents is a woman dressed in white, whose tragic story has become part of the hotel's lore. She is said to be the spirit of a former guest who met an untimely death within the hotel's walls. Though the details of her life and passing are murky, witnesses describe her appearance as both sorrowful and searching, as if she is forever seeking something lost to her. Guests report seeing her gliding silently through hallways, pausing by doors or windows, and sometimes vanishing as they approach. The figure is usually faint, a blur of white that seems to shimmer in the soft light of the corridor, yet her presence is unmistakable to those who encounter her. Auditory phenomena are another hallmark of the King Edward Hotel's haunting. Guests frequently speak of hearing footsteps echoing in empty hallways, the soft rustle of fabric, or the faint creak of doors opening and closing on their own. These sounds often appear at night, when the hotel is quieter and the ordinary creaks and groans of a building are more noticeable. Some visitors have reported waking to the sensation of being watched, or hearing whispers just beyond understanding. Staff members, from housekeeping to security, have corroborated these experiences, noting that even with the hotel bustling during the day, certain corridors and suites retain an inexplicable energy after hours. Several rooms in the King Edward have gained particular notoriety for paranormal activity. Some guests report disturbances in their rooms, such as lights flickering, objects moving slightly, or cold spots appearing without explanation. Room 526, in particular, has a reputation for encounters with the woman in white. Guests staying there have described waking to see her standing at the end of the bed, her gaze fixed somewhere beyond the present, as if watching for someone who never arrives. Others have felt a sudden chill or the sensation of a hand lightly brushing their shoulder, though no one is there. These experiences are often brief, yet memorable, leaving a lingering impression long after guests depart. The ghost of the woman in white is often described as melancholic rather than malevolent. Witnesses report a sense of sorrow or longing, as if the spirit is trapped between the past and the present, unable to move on. Some theorists suggest she may be reliving the moments leading up to her death or searching for a loved one. Others believe the hotel itself, steeped in history and human activity, acts as a kind of anchor for residual energy, allowing echoes of past events to manifest as apparitions or unexplained sounds. This interpretation aligns with a variety of reports. Glimpses of a figure, fleeting touches, cold drafts, and unexplained noises that together create an atmosphere of haunting that is felt as much as it is seen. Paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the King Edward Hotel, specifically because of these stories. Cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors have occasionally captured anomalous flickers of light, shadows in video footage, or inexplicable sounds on recordings. While skeptics often attribute these occurrences to natural causes, the consistency of the reports over decades adds weight to the legend. Guests seeking an encounter with the hotel's spectral inhabitant are often rewarded with at least a sense of her presence. Whether a fleeting shadow, a chill in the air, or the sensation of unseen eyes observing their movements, the King Edward Hotel's haunting does not detract from its status as a luxurious destination. Rather, it adds a layer of intrigue and historical depth. Visitors are drawn not only to the grandeur of its architecture and the comfort of its rooms, but also to the thrill of experiencing a place where history and the supernatural intersect. The presence of a ghostly figure wandering the halls turns a routine hotel stay into a story that becomes part of the guest's personal history, a tale to share and remember. Over the years, the woman in white has become an integral part of the King Edward's identity. Her legend is whispered among staff and guests alike, a spectral thread woven into the hotel's rich tapestry of history. She embodies the intersection of tragedy and elegance, sorrow and beauty, reminding all who visit that the past leaves traces, and that some presences are not bound by the laws of the living. For guests, staying at the King Edward is an experience that blends luxury with mystery. They come for the lavish suites, fine dining, and central location, but many leave with stories of cold spots, flickering lights, footsteps in empty hallways, and, for some fortunate or unfortunate enough, a glimpse of the woman in white. Her presence is subtle yet unforgettable, creating a haunting ambience that enriches the historic charm of the hotel. Ultimately, the King Edward Hotel stands as a testament to the ways in which history, memory, and spirit can inhabit a space. Its halls and rooms carry echoes of lives once lived, moments of joy, sorrow, and unanswered questions. Guests who encountered the ghost of the woman in white leave with the knowledge that the hotel is more than a place to stay. It is a living repository of stories, both human and spectral, where the past continues to walk alongside the present. The Empress Hotel, located in the heart of Victoria, British Columbia, has long been an icon of luxury and elegance. Built in 1908, it stands proudly overlooking the inner harbor. Its grand architecture and opulent interiors reflecting more than a century of refined hospitality. Guests from around the world come to enjoy its stately ballrooms, polished woodwork, and meticulously designed suites. Yet beneath the polished marble and the crystal chandeliers lies a layer of mystery that continues to intrigue and unsettle those who spend time within its walls. The Empress is not only a monument to Canadian luxury, it is a place where the past lingers, sometimes in very tangible ways. Among the most famous stories associated with the Empress Hotel is that of a woman in a white gown. Descriptions of her vary slightly from one encounter to the next, but most agree that she appears as a sorrowful figure, gliding silently along the hotel's corridors. Witnesses often report seeing her pause in doorways, linger near windows, or vanish when approached directly. Some believe she is the spirit of a former guest who met an untimely or tragic end, though the precise details of her life and death remain unclear. Her presence, while not overtly threatening, conveys a deep sense of melancholy, as if she is endlessly searching for something lost to her in life. Guests have shared numerous accounts of seeing her apparition, often late at night when the hotel is quieter. Some describe walking down a hallway only to notice a white figure standing at the far end, motionless and almost translucent. As they move closer, the figure seems to fade into the shadows or vanish entirely, leaving behind only a lingering chill in the air. Others report hearing faint footsteps or the rustle of fabric when no one else is present, accompanied by the occasional flicker of light or the subtle scent of perfume. Though the hotel's HVAC system and fragrance services cannot account for it, these encounters are often fleeting, but they leave a lasting impression on those who experience them. In addition to visual sightings, the Empress Hotel has a long history of unexplained auditory phenomena. Guests have reported hearing doors creak open and shut on their own. The soft patter of footsteps in hallways long after the last elevator has stopped, and distant whispers that cannot be traced to any source. Staff members also speak of hearing sounds in empty corridors and rooms that appear to hold no guests. Many of these experiences occur in the older parts of the building, suggesting that the original construction may retain echoes of the past. Certain areas of the hotel are particularly associated with paranormal activity. Upper floors, where the suites offer panoramic views of the harbor, seem to be the most commonly mentioned. Guests in these rooms have described waking in the middle of the night to find the white-gowned figure standing silently at the foot of their bed, or watching her move across the hall outside their door. In some cases, lights may flicker, objects may shift slightly, or cold spots suddenly appear. These manifestations are subtle, yet unmistakable, creating an atmosphere where the past feels almost present. And the line between the living and the spectral blurs. The ghost of the woman in white is often described as gentle rather than malevolent. Witnesses frequently sense a profound sadness rather than anger or hostility. Some theorists speculate that her presence may be a form of residual energy, a lingering imprint of an event or emotion that remains tied to the hotel. Others suggest that she may be a conscious spirit, actively searching for someone or something that she lost in life. Whatever the explanation, her presence adds an element of intrigue and historical depth to the Empress, reminding guests that the hotel is more than just a building. It is a repository of countless human experiences, both joyful and tragic. Paranormal enthusiasts often visit the Empress in hopes of encountering the woman in white or capturing evidence of her existence. Cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors are sometimes employed in these investigations. Reports occasionally include strange shadows in video footage, unexplained noises on recordings, or sudden drops in temperature. While skeptics often attribute these occurrences to natural causes, the consistency of reports over decades reinforces the hotel's reputation as a haunted location. Guests who come seeking a brush with the supernatural often leave with stories to share and memories that linger far beyond their stay. Despite its spectral residence, the Empress Hotel remains one of Victoria's most sought-after destinations. Its blend of luxury, history, and mystery offers guests a unique experience, combining the comfort of five-star accommodations with the subtle thrill of the unknown. Many visitors find that their awareness of the hotel's haunted history heightens their appreciation for its historical significance and architectural beauty. The presence of a ghostly figure wandering the halls transforms a stay into something memorable, a story to carry home and recount to friends and family. Ultimately, the Empress Hotel stands as a testament to the way history, memory, and spirit can inhabit a space. Its halls are not just corridors, and its rooms are not just accommodations. They are vessels carrying the echoes of lives long past. Guests who encounter the woman in white leave with an awareness that the hotel is more than a building, yet is a living, breathing connection to the past, where the sorrowful, searching spirit quietly persists. The subtle footsteps, fleeting shadows, and soft whispers serve as reminders that even in a place of grandeur and elegance, the past never truly fades, and sometimes it walks alongside the present. The Hotel Vancouver, an iconic landmark in the heart of downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, stands as a testament to elegance, history, and timeless hospitality. Opened in its current form in 1939, the hotel has long been a hub for dignitaries, celebrities, and travelers seeking refined accommodations. Its grand architecture, polished marble floors, and towering chandeliers reflect the height of luxury in the Pacific Northwest, while the surrounding cityscape offers breathtaking views of the mountains, harbor, and bustling streets below. Yet, beneath this veneer of sophistication lies a layer of mystery that has intrigued guests and staff for decades. For many, the Hotel Vancouver is not just a place of comfort, but a place where the past lingers in spectral form, and the line between the living and the dead blurs. Among the hotel's most enduring legends is the apparition of a man in a gray suit, often described as elegant yet sorrowful. He is believed to be the spirit of a former guest who passed away under circumstances that remain largely unknown. Though some speculate it may have been sudden or tragic, guests who encounter him describe a figure gliding silently through the hallways, pausing in doorways, and sometimes vanishing before their eyes. There is an air of melancholy surrounding him, as though he is searching endlessly for something lost, or attempting to resolve a matter left unfinished in life. Those who see him rarely report fear. Instead, they speak of a profound, almost poignant presence, a reminder of the lingering traces of human experience within the hotel's walls. Many visitors recount seeing him in the quieter hours of the night, when the hum of the city fades and the hotel's corridors are dimly lit. A guest might descend the grand staircase or walk through a hallway, only to catch sight of the man in gray at the far end, motionless yet unmistakably real. As the guest approaches, the figure may move away, walking silently down the hall, only to disappear through a wall, around a corner, or simply vanish in thin air. These fleeting encounters leave a chilling yet fascinating impression, a mix of wonder, curiosity, and the undeniable thrill of experiencing something beyond the ordinary. Auditory phenomena are another common feature of the Hotel Vancouver's ghostly reputation. Guests have reported hearing footsteps echoing in empty corridors, the subtle creak of doors opening or closing, and faint whispers that seem to come from no discernible source. Housekeeping staff and night shift employees have also shared experiences of lights flickering in hallways, objects shifting slightly, or doors swinging open and closed without explanation. These occurrences are often subtle, but they accumulate into a sense of presence that cannot be easily dismissed. Many believe that the hotel, with its long history and countless guests over the decades, serves as a repository for lingering energy, allowing past events and personalities to manifest intermittently in the present. Certain rooms and areas of the hotel have gained a reputation for heightened paranormal activity. Guests have reported cold spots in suites, sudden drops in temperature in corridors, and the sensation of being watched even when alone. Some have claimed to awaken in the middle of the night to see the man in gray standing silently in the doorway, his eyes fixed on the room's interior, before disappearing again. Others have felt a light brush on their shoulder, or an unexplained chill, often accompanied by the faint scent of tobacco or cologne, though no living person is present. These subtle yet unmistakable signs of a lingering presence have contributed to the hotel's mystique and the enduring legend of its spectral inhabitant. Paranormal enthusiasts have long been drawn to the Hotel Vancouver, intrigued by reports of apparitions, unexplained noises, and mysterious cold spots. Investigations using cameras, audio recorders, and electromagnetic sensors have occasionally captured anomalies, including fleeting shadows, unexplained sounds, or fluctuations in temperature. While skeptics often attribute these phenomena to the natural quirks of an old building, The consistency and prevalence of reports across decades make it difficult to entirely dismiss the experiences of guests and staff. For many, a stay at the hotel is as much an encounter with history and luxury as it is an exploration of the unknown. Despite its spectral residents, the Hotel Vancouver continues to be a sought-after destination for travelers. Its combination of elegance, central location, and rich history attracts visitors from around the globe, who often leave with stories not only of fine dining, comfortable accommodations, and scenic views, but also of unexplained encounters that linger in memory long after their stay. The legend of the man in gray adds an intangible charm to the hotel, a subtle thrill that intertwines seamlessly with its historic grandeur. The ghost of the man in gray is remembered not as a threat, but as a presence imbued with curiosity, sadness, and a quiet dignity. He represents a connection to the hotel's past, a bridge between the lives that have passed through its doors and those who occupy it today. Guests who sense his presence often describe it as poignant, a reminder that the echoes of the past can inhabit the spaces we inhabit, and that history is not always confined to stories or photographs, can linger quietly just beyond the edge of perception. Ultimately, the Hotel Vancouver stands as a living testament to the layers of time, memory, and spirit that define a place. Its grand corridors and lavish rooms are more than mere accommodations. They are vessels of history, where joy, sorrow, and mystery intertwine. Visitors who encounter the man in gray leave with a story that becomes part of the hotel's ongoing narrative. A reminder that within its walls, the past is never truly gone, and some presences continue to walk silently among the living. The Chateau Lake Louise, perched majestically on the shores of its namesake, Glacier Lake in Alberta, is a symbol of grandeur and natural beauty. Since opening in 1911, this iconic hotel has drawn travelers from around the world, eager to experience the dramatic vistas of the surrounding Rockies and the serene turquoise waters of Lake Louise itself. Its stone and timber architecture blends harmoniously with the rugged landscape, offering a luxurious refuge amid towering peaks and pristine forests. Yet, beneath the elegance and tranquility of the chateau, a layer of mystery lingers, woven into the hotel's century-long history. The halls of Chateau Lake Louise are not just filled with laughter and conversation, they are also said to harbor the presence of a spirit, a woman in a white gown who walks quietly through its corridors, endlessly searching for something lost. Guests first notice the subtle signs of her presence during the quieter hours, often late at night when the hotel is enveloped in stillness. Some report glimpsing a woman in white gliding down hallways, her form delicate and translucent, pausing in doorways or near windows. She moves silently, with a grace that seems almost otherworldly, vanishing when approached. Witnesses often describe a profound sense of melancholy accompanying her apparition, as if she is tethered to the hotel by sorrow or unfinished business. While her presence is generally not threatening, it is undeniably unsettling, leaving an impression that lingers long after the encounter. Sightings of the woman in white are most common on the upper floors of the hotel, particularly in suites that overlook the lake. Guests report waking in the dead of night to find the figure standing at the foot of their bed or moving silently past their doorway. In some cases, lights flicker or shadows shift in ways that seem unnatural, reinforcing the impression that she is real and not a trick of imagination. A few have even claimed to hear soft weeping or the faint rustle of fabric, subtle auditory cues that accompany her silent movements and deepen the sense of presence. The story behind the apparition remains a mystery, though speculation abounds. Some believe she was a guest who met an untimely death at the hotel, perhaps succumbing to illness or falling victim to an accident. Others suggest she may have been a bride, drawn forever to the lake and hotel, where her life took a tragic turn. The details may never be fully known, yet the consistency of reports over decades has cemented her place in the lore of Chateau Lake Louise. She has become a symbol of the hotel's history, a living echo of the lives that have passed through its halls. In addition to visual encounters, the hotel is known for unexplained phenomena. that hint at the presence of the supernatural. Guests and staff have reported sudden drops in temperature in specific areas, doors opening and closing on their own, and objects moving without explanation. Some have sensed an invisible presence, brushing past them in hallways, or felt a gentle touch on the shoulder when no one is nearby. These occurrences, often subtle and fleeting, create an atmosphere of quiet suspense, enhancing the legend of the woman in white and leaving an impression that the chateau is more than just a building. It is a space where the past can still interact with the present. Paranormal investigators and enthusiasts have long been drawn to Chateau Lake Louise, hoping to capture evidence of the mysterious figure. Cameras, audio recorders, and temperature sensors have occasionally recorded anomalies, such as flickering shadows, unexplained sounds, or sudden cold spots. While skeptics attribute these experiences to the imagination or natural quirks of an old building, the sheer number and consistency of reports over time have reinforced the hotel's reputation as a haunted location. Visitors seeking both the natural beauty of the Rockies and a brush with the supernatural often leave with stories that blend wonder, awe, and unease. Despite the haunting tales, the Chateau Lake Louise remains one of Canada's most sought-after destinations. Its luxury, history, and stunning location continue to attract travelers, offering comfort and elegance alongside the thrill of possible spectral encounters. Many guests find that the knowledge of its haunted history adds an intangible charm to their stay, heightening their awareness of the hotel's deep connection to the past. The woman in white, whether a residual spirit or a conscious presence, enhances the sense that the chateau is alive with memory, bridging the gap between the past and present. The apparition of the woman in white is remembered not as a malevolent force, but as a presence imbued with longing and sorrow. She serves as a reminder of the transient nature of life, of moments lost and histories preserved. Guests who sense her presence often describe it as poignant, almost reflective, prompting contemplation about the lives and stories that the hotel has witnessed over more than a century. Her silent walks through the hallways and suites link the human experiences of the past with those of the present, reminding visitors that the grandeur of the chateau encompasses more than just architecture and natural beauty, includes echoes of those who came before. Ultimately, Chateau Lake Louise is a place where history, nature, and mystery intertwine. Its halls and rooms are not merely accommodations, but vessels of experience, memory, and lingering presence. Guests who encounter the woman in white leave with a story that becomes part of the hotel's enduring legend, a tale of beauty and tragedy, of a spirit bound by longing, and of a place where the past never truly fades. In this way, the Chateau Lake Louise stands as a testament not only to luxury and natural splendor, but also to the quiet, persistent echoes of lives that continue to wander its halls, searching for something lost. The Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, Alberta, is one of Canada's most iconic landmarks, a castle-like structure nestled among the towering peaks of the Rocky Mountains. Built in 1888 by the Canadian Pacific Railway, the hotel was designed to attract wealthy travelers to the breathtaking wilderness of Alberta. With its grand turrets, sweeping staircases, and elegant ballrooms, the Banff Springs Hotel quickly became known as the Castle in the Rockies, a place of luxury and refinement that blended perfectly with the untamed beauty surrounding it. Yet, beneath the glamour and history lies another story, one whispered through the decades by guests and staff alike. The Banff Springs Hotel is not only a place of stunning architecture and natural beauty, but also one of the most haunted hotels in Canada. Among the hotel's many ghostly legends, the most famous is that of the bride in the white gown. According to local lore, sometime in the early 20th century, a young bride prepared for her wedding at the Banff Springs Hotel. The grand staircase was decorated, her guests were waiting, and her life was about to begin. But tragedy struck before the ceremony could take place. Accounts differ on exactly what happened, but most agree that the bride, in her flowing white gown, was descending the hotel's sweeping marble staircase when she fell. Some say she slipped on the hem of her gown. Others claim her dress brushed too close to a candle and caught fire, sending her into a panic. Whatever the cause, the result was devastating. The young woman fell to her death on what should have been the happiest day of her life. Her groom and family were left shattered, and the wedding turned into a tragedy that would never be forgotten within the walls of the hotel. Since that day, guests and staff have reported seeing her apparition wandering the hallways of the Banff Springs Hotel, always dressed in her bridal gown. She is said to move silently through the corridors, sometimes appearing at the top of the staircase where her life ended. Some claim she has been seen gliding down the steps, her face veiled in sorrow, before vanishing into thin air. On occasion, guests have reported hearing faint sobbing echoing in the stairwell late at night, as though the bride is forever mourning the future she lost. A few have even reported feeling a sudden coldness, accompanied by the distinct smell of smoke, as though the memory of her gown catching fire lingers in the air. The bride is not the only spirit said to inhabit the hotel. Another famous ghostly figure is that of Sam the bellman, a longtime employee who worked at the Banff Springs Hotel during the mid-20th century. Known for his helpfulness and dedication, Sam was beloved by guests and staff alike. After his death, however, stories began circulating that Sam never truly left the hotel. Guests have reported calling for a bellman, only to have a friendly man in an old-fashioned uniform arrive to assist with their luggage. He takes their bags to their rooms, shows them the amenities, and then vanishes without a trace. When they later describe the bellman, staff often recognize the description as Sam, though he has been dead for years. Some even claim Sam has unlocked doors for guests when their keys failed to work, only for them to discover later that no bellman was on duty at the time. It seems Sam remains eternally loyal to the place he loves so much, still assisting guests from beyond the grave. There are darker tales as well. Some guests have claimed to see fleeting shadows in their rooms, or to hear unexplained knocking at their doors late at night. In certain hallways, footsteps are often heard echoing when no one is there. A few guests report waking suddenly in the night to the sensation of being watched, only to glimpse a pale figure standing at the foot of their bed before disappearing. In the kitchens and service areas, staff have shared stories of dishes rattling on their own, lights flickering, or doors swinging open and closed with no explanation. These smaller, subtler hauntings add to the atmosphere of mystery that surrounds the Banff Springs Hotel, as though the building itself has absorbed the emotions and memories of all who have passed through its halls. One of the hotel's most enduring legends is that of room 873. According to rumor, this room once held a dark secret. Some say that long ago, a family was murdered there under mysterious circumstances, strange noises in the night, and a sense of dread so overwhelming that they could not remain. The hotel eventually bricked up the doorway, erasing the room from public use, though guests who walk the hall still swear they can feel a presence when they pass the spot where the door once was. Whether or not the story is true, the legend of room 873 has become part of the lore that makes the Banff Springs Hotel so infamous among ghost hunters and thrill seekers. The Banff Springs Hotel remains one of the most luxurious destinations in Canada, drawing thousands of visitors each year who come to enjoy the natural splendor of Banff National Park. Yet for those who listen closely, the hotel offers more than just luxury. It offers glimpses into a past that refuses to fade. The bride in her white gown still lingers on the staircase. Sam the bellman still helps lost guests, and the whispers of tragedy still echo in hidden corners. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, it is impossible to ignore the chilling tales that cling to the castle in the Rockies. For many, the Banff Springs Hotel is more than just a place to rest. It is a place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural converge, leaving an imprint that will never fully disappear. The Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge, nestled deep within the Canadian Rockies, is one of Alberta's most iconic destinations. Built in 1922, the lodge has long been a retreat for travelers seeking the quiet majesty of Jasper National Park. Surrounded by pristine lakes, towering mountains, and endless stretches of evergreen forest, the lodge offers both natural beauty and luxurious comfort. Its rustic cabins and grand main building have hosted royalty, celebrities, and countless tourists eager to experience the untouched wilderness of the Rockies. Yet beneath its polished reputation and serene atmosphere lies a different story, one whispered about by both staff and guests. The tale of a restless spirit who continues to walk the lodge's quiet halls long after his death. For decades, stories have circulated about a man in a gray suit who roams the corridors of the Jasper Park Lodge. He is described as distinguished, often appearing well-dressed as though prepared for dinner or an important meeting, and yet there is something unsettling about him. His movements are said to be deliberate, but strangely detached, his expression distant, as if his thoughts are fixed on something just out of reach. Those who encounter him describe the sensation of stepping back in time, as though the apparition is not entirely part of the modern world, but instead tethered to an earlier moment in the lodge's history. The origins of the ghost are uncertain, though local lore offers several possibilities. Some say he was a wealthy businessman who frequented the lodge during its early years, seeking the tranquility of Jasper as an escape from the pressures of city life. Others insist he was a honeymooner whose life ended tragically during a stay at the lodge, though no records remain of such an event. Still others believe he may have been a staff member, a manager perhaps, who dedicated his life to the smooth operation of the resort and now lingers, unwilling to let go of the place he considered his home. What unites all of these stories is the claim that the man met his end under mysterious or sorrowful circumstances, leaving his spirit restless and bound to the lodge. Guests have often described hearing footsteps in the long hallways late at night, only to find the corridor empty when they investigate. Some report catching a glimpse of a gray figure just ahead of them, moving slowly toward a turn in the hall. But when they follow, the figure vanishes. A few unlucky visitors have even awoken in their rooms to find the man standing near the window or at the foot of the bed, watching in silence before fading into nothing. These encounters, while terrifying to those who experienced them, are always brief, leaving behind more questions than answers. Staff members, to have their share of stories. Housekeepers have reported entering rooms only to feel a sudden chill sweep across the space, followed by the faint sound of dress shoes clicking on the floorboards. Maintenance workers claim that tools sometimes go missing, only to reappear later in strange places, as if moved by unseen hands. Several employees have even refused to work certain shifts in the older wings of the lodge, convinced that the gray-suited man is more active after dark. Despite these accounts, management rarely addresses the stories openly, preferring to let them exist as local folklore. The Jasper Park Lodge itself adds to the ghost's mystique. With its wooden beams, stone fireplaces, and sprawling grounds, the hotel feels timeless, a place where the line between past and present blurs. On quiet nights, when the wind whistles through the pines and the lake reflects the moonlight, it is easy to imagine the presence of those who once walked the lodge's halls. For some, these ghostly tales enhance the allure of the lodge, offering a thrill alongside the beauty of the Rockies. For others, the stories are unsettling reminders that not all who check into the lodge are able to leave. Skeptics argue that the sightings of the gray-suited man may simply be the product of imagination. In an environment as atmospheric as Jasper, with its isolation and natural grandeur, the mind can easily conjure illusions. Shadows cast by flickering firelight, the creak of old wooden floors, or the distant echo of footsteps in empty halls may be enough to convince visitors that they are not alone. Yet for those who have seen the apparition firsthand, the experiences are too vivid to dismiss. The clarity with which they describe the man, his suit, and his demeanor suggests more than just the tricks of a restless mind. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of the legend is the notion that the man is searching for something he lost. Witnesses often describe him as moving with purpose, scanning the halls as if looking for an object, a person, or even a moment in time that has slipped beyond his reach. Some speculate he may be searching for a lost lover, a treasured possession, or the peace that eluded him in life. Whatever the truth, his search seems eternal, replaying over and over within the walls of the lodge. The Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge remains one of Canada's most beloved destinations, a place where nature and luxury come together in perfect harmony. Yet the ghost of the man in the gray suit ensures that it is also a place where the past lingers, refusing to be forgotten. Guests may arrive seeking the tranquility of the mountains, but some leave with a story they never expected to tell, a story of a silent figure, well-dressed and sorrowful, who walks beside them in the halls before disappearing into thin air. In the end, the lodge's beauty and its ghostly reputation are inseparable. The grandeur of the mountains may inspire awe, but it is the whisper of the supernatural that keeps visitors glancing over their shoulders long after the fire has died down and the night has grown quiet. For those who believe, the man in the gray suit is not just a legend, but a reminder that even in a place of comfort and splendor, the echoes of the past still walk among us. Perched high above the St. Lawrence River, the Fairmont Le Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City is one of Canada's most iconic landmarks. With its soaring towers, grand architecture, and commanding view of old Quebec, the hotel has long been a symbol of elegance and luxury. Since its opening in 1893, it has hosted royalty, dignitaries, and countless travelers from around the world. Yet beneath its glamour and charm lies another reputation, one steeped in whispers of the supernatural. Many guests and staff believe the hotel is home to more than just visitors of this world. And one spirit in particular has made her presence well known, a woman in a white gown, endlessly wandering the halls as if searching for something forever out of reach. From the moment a guest steps into the lobby, they are met with an atmosphere that balances grandeur with an almost timeless stillness. The Chateau Frontenac feels like it has absorbed every laugh, every conversation, and every silent step of those who have passed through its doors. For some, that sensation is comforting. For others, it is unnerving, as if unseen eyes are always watching. Those who stay in certain wings of the hotel have reported feeling a sudden drop in temperature, or hearing faint whispers that cannot be traced to any source. And for a few, those whispers seem to be tied to the mysterious woman in white. Stories describe her as elegant and sorrowful, gliding down corridors as if she does not belong to the present moment. Witnesses often recall catching a glimpse of her reflection in the tall mirrors of the hotel, only to turn and find the hallway empty. In some accounts, she appears at the end of a corridor, her figure blurred and pale, before dissolving into nothingness. Guests who encounter her describe an overwhelming sense of melancholy, as though her sadness is something that seeps into the walls themselves. The most enduring theory about this woman's identity suggests she was once a guest of the hotel who died under tragic circumstances. Some believe she was a bride who never had the chance to marry, her story forever entwined with the heartbreak of lost love. Others whisper of a guest who suffered a fatal accident within the hotel, her soul bound to the very halls where she took her last breath. Though no official records confirm her story, the sightings have been so consistent and vivid that many are convinced she is real. Housekeeping staff often tell of moments when they enter a room to find it icy cold despite no windows being open, or when neatly folded towels or freshly made beds appear to have been disturbed moments after being set in place. Some report hearing the faint rustle of fabric, as though a gown is sweeping across the carpet. In more chilling encounters, workers have claimed to hear sobbing echoing from empty rooms, the sorrowful sound vanishing as soon as the door is opened. One of the eeriest experiences comes from guests who have seen the woman in white, not simply wandering, but lingering, as if she is waiting. In one story, a couple staying in the hotel awoke in the middle of the night to find a figure standing at the foot of their bed. At first, they thought it was a staff member who had entered by mistake, but as their eyes adjusted, they realized she was translucent, her gown glowing faintly in the darkness. The woman did not move or speak, only gazed at them with eyes full of longing, before disappearing into the air. The couple left the hotel early the next morning, unwilling to spend another night in the same room. The Chateau Frontenac's reputation as a luxurious destination has never been diminished by its haunted tales. In fact, for many visitors, the possibility of a ghostly encounter only adds to its mystique. The hotel has become a magnet not only for tourists who come for its history and elegance, but also for paranormal enthusiasts eager to walk the same halls as the famed woman in white. Some even request rooms in the older wings of the hotel, hoping to increase their chances of experiencing the unexplained. Despite countless reports, there is something elusive about the spirit. She never seems threatening, never malicious. Instead, her presence is tinged with sorrow, as though her story was left unfinished, and she is condemned to repeat her search for eternity. Whether she is seeking a lost lover, reliving a tragic moment, or simply bound to the place where her life ended, no one can say for certain. Yet, what makes the legend endure is not only the frequency of sightings, but also the emotional weight attached to them. Guests who have encountered her rarely describe fear. Instead, they speak of sadness, of empathy, and of a haunting beauty that lingers long after they leave the hotel. It is as if she imprints herself upon those who see her, reminding them that the line between past and present, between the living and the dead, is thinner than we imagine. Today, as the Chateau Frontenac continues to welcome visitors from across the globe, its ghostly resident remains an inseparable part of its legacy. For every guest who strolls its elegant hallways or looks out at the breathtaking views of Quebec City, there is always the chance of a brush with the unknown. Perhaps late at night, when the lights dim and the corridors fall silent, the woman in white will appear once more, still searching for what she lost, her story woven forever into the fabric of the Grand Hotel that watches over the St. Lawrence River. The Fairmont Palliser in Calgary, Alberta, is a place where grandeur and history intersect. Built in 1914, it has long been considered one of the most luxurious and prestigious hotels in Western Canada. Designed in the Edwardian commercial style, the Palliser quickly became a symbol of prosperity during Calgary's booming railway years, welcoming wealthy travelers, politicians, and celebrities. With its elegant chandeliers, marble floors, and towering architecture, the hotel exudes old-world charm, making guests feel as though they have stepped into another era. Yet beneath its beauty and refined reputation, the Palliser has gained another layer of notoriety. Whispers of a ghostly figure said to roam its halls. A man in a gray suit, whose story lingers like a shadow in the hotel's history. Over the decades, guests and staff alike have spoken of strange happenings within the Palliser's walls. The man in the gray suit is the most frequently reported spirit, his presence felt in hushed footsteps, fleeting shadows, and sudden chills in otherwise warm rooms. Some describe him as a tall gentleman dressed in an outdated but stylish gray suit, appearing suddenly before vanishing just as quickly. Others claim to have caught only a glimpse of him in mirrors or reflections, as though he exists between worlds, never fully stepping into the present. The origin of this spectral figure is a matter of speculation. Local legends suggest he was once a distinguished guest who checked into the hotel decades ago and never checked out. According to one story, the man was a traveling businessman who collapsed suddenly in his room after suffering a heart attack. Alone and far from home, his death went largely unnoticed, overshadowed by the bustle of the thriving city. Some say he now wanders the hotel, searching for something he lost, perhaps his personal belongings, perhaps his dignity, or perhaps something far more intangible, like the recognition of a life that ended too abruptly. Encounters with the man in the gray suit are often unsettling, yet not malicious. Guests have reported waking in the night to see him standing at the foot of their bed, silently watching before dissolving into the darkness. Others describe hearing the faint sound of dress shoes tapping against the marble floors when no one else is near. A number of staff members have admitted to feeling uneasy in certain corridors, particularly late at night, when the grand hallways stand empty, the sound of footsteps echoing behind them, only to find no one there, is a common story. One particularly chilling account comes from a housekeeper who had been cleaning one of the upper floor rooms. She felt as though she was being watched, and when she turned, she saw a man in a gray suit standing near the doorway. Believing it was a guest who had mistakenly entered the room, she asked if she could help him. The figure made no reply. Instead, he simply turned and walked into the hall. But when she followed, there was no one there. The hallway was completely empty, and the elevators had not moved. Another guest once claimed to have seen the gray-suited man in the lobby, standing near the grand staircase. At first glance, he He seemed like any other well-dressed guest, slightly out of place only because his clothing appeared old-fashioned. When the guest looked again, the man had disappeared, leaving only a lingering sense of cold air in his place. While the gray-suited spirit is the most commonly reported apparition, the Fairmont Palliser holds an atmosphere that seems ripe for ghostly presences. The age of the building, combined with its long history of guests passing through, creates a layered environment of memories and impressions. Paranormal enthusiasts often suggest that hotels, with their transient populations and constant flow of energy, are natural magnets for spiritual activity. The Palliser, with its century-old walls and rich stories, fits this theory well. The ghostly activity has not deterred guests from staying at the Palliser. In fact, it has only heightened its reputation as one of Canada's most atmospheric hotels. Paranormal investigators have occasionally taken interest in the building, conducting quiet explorations in hopes of capturing evidence of the man in the gray suit. Though most encounters remain anecdotal, the consistency of the reports adds weight to the legend. Year after year, different guests, with no prior knowledge of the stories, report eerily similar experiences, describing the same quiet, watchful man in his timeless suit. For some, the idea of meeting the man in the gray suit adds to the allure of staying at the palace. For others, it serves as a reminder that even the most refined and glamorous places can harbor secrets of sorrow and unfinished business. Unlike malicious spirits found in darker tales, the man in the gray suit seems bound not by anger but by longing, as if still tethered to a place where his life came to an unexpected end. The Fairmont Palliser stands today as both a luxurious retreat and a vessel of memory. Its chandeliers still shine, its lobby still welcomes travelers from around the world, and its rooms still echo with stories, both living and ghostly. The man in the gray suit continues his silent wanderings, forever searching the elegant halls, leaving behind only whispers, cold drafts, and the unsettling sense that history never truly leaves a place. In the end, the Palliser's ghost story adds depth to its grandeur. The man in the gray suit has become part of the hotel's character, a spectral reminder that every building has its secrets, and that not all of its guests are ready to leave. For those who dare to walk the quiet corridors at night, perhaps they too might encounter the silent figure in gray, forever roaming the halls of Calgary's most historic hotel. The Fairmont Chateau Whistler, nestled in the majestic mountains of British Columbia, is celebrated as one of Canada's most luxurious alpine resorts. Built in 1989, the hotel was designed to echo the style of a classic European mountain chateau, blending grandeur with the natural beauty of Whistler's snowy peaks and forested slopes. Guests from around the world come here to ski, golf, and bask in its lavish comforts, but many leave with something unexpected, a chilling story of ghostly encounters that add a darker, more mysterious side to its polished reputation. The most persistent tale that lingers in the halls of the Fairmont Chateau Whistler is that of the woman in white. Described as graceful, ethereal, and dressed in a flowing gown, she is said to wander the hotel's dim corridors and stairwells, her presence leaving guests both awestruck and unsettled. Some say she is the spirit of a guest who met her end tragically within the hotel, though the exact details of her demise are shrouded in rumor. Others believe she may be connected to the land itself, tied to Whistler's long history of wilderness dangers, mining ventures, and lost lives. Regardless of her origins, her presence is undeniable to those who claim to have seen her. Many sightings occur late at night, often when the hotel has quieted, and the grand hallways seem to stretch into infinity. Guests walking back to their rooms after dinner or drinks have reported a fleeting figure in white moving just ahead of them, silent and gliding rather than walking. When they hurry to catch up, the figure either vanishes before their eyes or rounds a corner only to disappear entirely. Some have mistaken her for another guest attending a wedding or event at the hotel, only to realize upon closer inspection that her face is pale, her eyes hollow, and her gown decades out of style. Housekeeping staff have their own stories about the woman in white. Several employees, while cleaning rooms alone, have described a sudden chill sweeping across the space, followed by the faint rustle of fabric, as though someone in a flowing dress had just passed by. In some cases, maids have returned to freshly made beds only to find them rumpled again moments later, as if an unseen guest had sat down to rest. Though unsettling, most staff regard her presence with a mix of fear and respect, believing she means no harm but continues to search for something she lost long ago. Elevators in the Chateau Whistler are another hotspot for paranormal encounters. Guests riding late at night have shared accounts of the elevator stopping unexpectedly on random floors. When the doors slide open, the corridor beyond is completely empty, except for the fleeting glimpse of a white gown vanishing into the shadows. On rare occasions, travelers have reported entering the elevator only to find themselves momentarily accompanied by the spectral woman, who lingers silently until the next stop, then vanishes before their eyes. These stories have given the elevators a reputation for being more than just a means of transport. They are thresholds between the living and the spectral. In addition to the woman in white, other strange occurrences ripple through the chateau. Guests have described hearing faint whispers in the quiet hours of the night, sometimes so close it feels as though someone is speaking directly into their ear. Lights flicker without explanation, faucets turn themselves on, and doors creak open as though pushed by invisible hands. On stormy nights, when the wind howls across the mountain peaks, some guests claim to hear weeping echoing through the hallways, soft and sorrowful, as though carried by the storm itself. Skeptics argue that the grand scale of the hotel, combined with mountain drafts and natural noises, can easily create illusions. The polished stone floors, towering ceilings, and long corridors are the perfect recipe for echo and shadow play. But for those who have locked eyes with the woman in white, the experience is far too real to be dismissed as imagination. Witnesses often describe a lingering heaviness in the air after seeing her, a sense of being watched, and an unshakable chill that seems to follow them for the rest of their stay. Interestingly, not all encounters with the ghostly woman inspire fear. Some guests claim to feel a sense of comfort when she appears, as if she is less a malevolent spirit and more a lost soul trying to find her way. Couples celebrating honeymoons or anniversaries have reported her appearing briefly at their doors, almost as though she is drawn to love and companionship. She can no longer experience. Her motives remain mysterious, but her presence seems to bridge the line between tragic and protective. The allure of the Fairmont Chateau Whistler lies not just in its luxury, but in the stories that linger within its walls. Guests arrive seeking mountain adventures and fine dining, but they leave with whispers of ghostly figures drifting through their memories. The woman in white has become as much a part of the hotel's legend as its ski slopes and spa retreats, her spectral beauty forever tied to the grandeur of the chateau. To stay at the Fairmont Chateau Whistler is to immerse oneself in opulence, but also to step into a world where the past and the present blur. The woman in white walks those halls still, silent and searching, her story unfinished. For some, she is a terrifying reminder that the veil between worlds is thinner than we believe. For others, she is a melancholy presence, haunting yet strangely graceful, lingering in one of the most beautiful hotels Canada has ever known. The Fairmont Hotel McDonald in Edmonton, Alberta, is a building that embodies elegance, history, and an unshakable sense of presence. Rising proudly over the North Saskatchewan River, its limestone walls and chateau-style architecture make it one of the city's most iconic landmarks. Built in 1915 by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway, the hotel quickly became a hub for dignitaries, celebrities, and travelers seeking luxury in the growing city. Yet, beyond the chandeliers, ornate dining rooms, and riverside views, there are whispers of something else lingering in the hallways, something spectral, elusive, and rooted in tragedy. Over the years, countless guests and staff have reported ghostly encounters within the Fairmont Hotel McDonald. The most enduring tale is of a man in a gray suit. He has been spotted wandering the corridors, particularly late at night, his expression heavy with sorrow, as if carrying a burden from another time. Many believe he was a guest who met an untimely death in the hotel, though the exact details of his passing remain lost to history. What lingers is not the story of his life, but the restless energy he left behind. Some guests have reported being startled awake in the middle of the night to find the figure of the man standing at the foot of their bed, always in the same gray suit. He does not speak, nor does he make any aggressive move. Instead, he gazes toward the door or window, as if searching for something or someone he lost long ago. Before the terrified guest can react, the figure fades into nothingness, leaving behind only the echo of cold air and a feeling of deep melancholy. Housekeepers, who know the rhythms and secrets of the hotel better than anyone, often speak in hushed tones about unexplained happenings on the upper floors. Some have described entering a room that had been locked and unoccupied, only to find the faint smell of cigar smoke lingering in the air. Others have reported hearing the distinct sound of footsteps in the hall when no one else is around. The elevators, too, are said to have a mind of their own, stopping at empty floors or opening without being summoned. For those who believe in the supernatural, these are the calling cards of the man in gray. Guests who have seen him up close often comment on the sorrow etched into his face. He is not menacing, but mournful, a spirit trapped in a loop of searching and wandering. Some theories suggest he may have been a businessman who stayed at the hotel during its early years and passed away suddenly, never able to finish what he came for. Others wonder if he was a man meeting someone in secret, perhaps a forbidden romance that ended in heartbreak, leaving his spirit doomed to wander the halls, still looking for the one who never arrived. The staff of the Fairmont Hotel McDonald, though professional and composed, do not dismiss these stories. Many openly acknowledge that the building has an energy to it, a sense that its walls remember everything. The grand architecture, with its soaring ceilings and winding corridors, creates the perfect stage for these encounters. When the lights dim and the hallways fall silent, the past feels very close enough, perhaps, to step through into the present. There are also reports of cold spots in certain areas of the hotel, places where the temperature suddenly drops without explanation. Guests walking through the mezzanine have claimed to feel a sudden chill, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Others insist they have heard faint whispers echoing along the walls, too faint to understand but unmistakably present. These whispers, combined with the apparition of the man in gray, add to the legend of the hotel as one of Alberta's most haunted sites. What makes the haunting of the Fairmont Hotel McDonald especially eerie is the contrast between its luxury and its ghostly stories. By day, it is filled with laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the bustle of weddings, conferences, and celebrations. By night, however, when the revelers have gone and the halls grow quiet, the building reveals another side. The man in the gray suit returns, endlessly pacing, endlessly searching, as though the passage of time means nothing to him. Some skeptics argue that the sightings are the product of imagination, fueled by the grandeur and age of the hotel. After all, a century-old building, with countless guests passing through its rooms, is bound to collect stories. But those who have seen the man in gray are adamant that their experiences were real. They speak of the vividness of his figure, the uncanny detail of his clothing, and the overwhelming sense of sorrow he radiated. These are not fleeting tricks of light, but encounters that leave lasting impressions. The legend of the man in gray has become an inseparable part of the Fairmont Hotel McDonald's identity. Guests come not only for the luxury, but also for the chance, however slim, to encounter the supernatural. The hotel does not officially promote its ghostly reputation, but it lingers nonetheless, whispered from one guest to another, passed down like folklore that clings to the stones of the building itself. The Fairmont Hotel McDonald stands as a reminder that even in the most glamorous of settings, the past is never truly gone. It lingers in shadows, in echoes, and in the sorrowful figure of a man doomed to wander its halls. For those who spend a night there, the experience is unforgettable. The soft rustle of footsteps in an empty corridor, the brush of cold air across the skin, or the sudden appearance of a man in a gray suit may leave them questioning the line between history and haunting. In the heart of Toronto, Where the rhythm of the city never seems to pause, there stands a hotel that embodies timeless elegance and grandeur. The Fairmont Royal Pavilion, built in 1929, was designed to reflect the height of luxury, a beacon for travelers and dignitaries seeking refined comfort. With its sweeping views of the skyline and interiors adorned with opulent detail, it quickly became a symbol of sophistication. Yet, beneath the polish and luxury, stories circulate of an unseen presence that walks the halls, a lingering spirit bound by sorrow and unfinished business. Guests and staff alike whisper about the woman in white, an apparition whose tragic tale has become woven into the fabric of the hotel itself. For nearly a century, the Fairmont Royal Pavilion has seen countless visitors pass through its grand entrance. But few have left such a lasting impression as this spectral guest. According to legend, she was once a young woman staying at the hotel during its early years, a figure from an era when jazz spilled from dance halls and elegance defined every evening gathering. Her life, it is said, ended tragically within the walls of the hotel, though the exact details remain cloaked in mystery. Some accounts suggest a broken heart, others whisper of a tragic accident. Whatever the truth, it is believed she now roams the corridors in her white gown, her spirit caught in the endless search for something she lost long ago. The most common sightings occur in the quiet hours of night. Guests have reported waking suddenly to the sound of soft footsteps echoing outside their doors, as though someone were pacing endlessly. When they summon the courage to peer into the hallway, they often describe seeing a figure dressed in flowing white, her face pale, her expression distant. In the blink of an eye, she vanishes, leaving only silence behind. Some have even claimed she enters their rooms, not with menace, but with a kind of mournful longing, as though searching desperately for a piece of her past. Staff, to have their share of unnerving tales. Housekeepers have spoken of entering rooms, only to find the faint scent of perfume lingering in the air, though no one had stayed there the previous night. Others report seeing reflections in mirrors, brief flashes of a woman standing just behind them, only for the image to dissolve when they turn around. Security guards on late-night patrols have admitted to following what they thought was a guest in distress, only to watch her drift down a hallway and fade into nothingness. Some believe she searches for a lost love, perhaps a man who once promised her forever but left her behind. Others speculate she is bound to the hotel by a treasured possession, perhaps a piece of jewelry, or even a letter that was misplaced or stolen long ago. Guests who have seen her often remark on the sadness in her eyes, as though she is aware of her endless wandering, but powerless to escape it. It is not anger that radiates from her presence, but an aching grief that lingers in the air long after she disappears. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a couple who stayed in one of the hotel's corner suites. They reported waking in the early morning hours to see the woman standing at the foot of their bed, her white gown shimmering faintly in the dim light. She did not move or speak, only stared with hollow eyes, as though waiting for recognition. The couple, frozen in terror, watched as she slowly turned and drifted toward the window before fading into the darkness outside. Though shaken, they insisted the encounter was more sorrowful than threatening, as if they had witnessed a soul locked in eternal mourning. Over the years, the legend of the woman in white has become inseparable from the Fairmont Royal Pavilion. Tourists who arrive for its luxury often leave with stories of unease, their experiences joining the countless accounts that reinforce the hotel's haunted reputation. Paranormal investigators have conducted late-night sessions in the halls, capturing unexplained cold spots, whispers on recording devices, and sudden spikes in energy that suggest something unseen lingers within. Yet, for many who have encountered her, the woman in white has become less a figure of terror and more a symbol of eternal love and loss. She is not described as malicious, but as a presence tied to memory and longing, unable to move on from the place where her life ended. Some even feel compassion for her, believing she appears not to frighten, but to remind the living of the fragility of human existence and of the bonds that can outlast even death. The Fairmont Royal Pavilion remains one of Toronto's crown jewels of hospitality, a place where past and present blend seamlessly. But for those who have felt the brush of icy air in a warm hallway, heard the phantom footsteps echoing in the silence of night, or locked eyes with a sorrowful figure in white. It is a place where the past is very much alive. Her story endures in whispered retellings, her presence felt in fleeting glimpses and unexplained sensations. To this day, she wanders the grand corridors, her white gown trailing softly behind her, forever searching for what was lost. And for those who stay within the royal pavilion, there is always the chance that, when the lights dim and the city quiets, they may find themselves face to face with Toronto's most elegant and sorrowful ghost. The Fairmont Chateau Laurier in Ottawa, Ontario, stands as one of Canada's most recognizable and elegant landmarks. Opened in 1912, this hotel was built in the Grand Railway tradition. Its turrets and limestone facade, giving it the aura of a French chateau transported into the heart of the nation's capital, overlooking the Rideau Canal and Parliament Hill. The Chateau Laurier has long been a gathering place for politicians, celebrities, and dignitaries. Yet behind its polished stone walls and gilded interior, whispers tell of strange encounters, ghostly presences, and a lingering sadness tied to its earliest days. The hotel's story begins with Charles Melville Hayes, president of the Grand Trunk Railway. Hayes was the driving force behind the hotel's construction, envisioning it as a symbol of refinement and modern luxury, a crown jewel for Ottawa. Tragically, Hayes never lived to see his dream realized. In April 1912, as the chateau neared completion, he boarded the ill-fated RMS Titanic, returning from Europe with furniture and plans for the hotel's opening. When the ship struck an iceberg, Hayes perished in the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Only days later, the Chateau Laurier opened its doors without the man who had envisioned it. Many say his spirit never left. Guests and staff have reported eerie encounters with a man in a gray suit, believed to be none other than Charles Melville Hayes himself. His apparition has been seen wandering the corridors, sometimes near the grand staircases, sometimes in the opulent lobby where guests gather. Witnesses describe a tall, dignified figure, his features gaunt and his expression sorrowful, as though he is still tied to the unfinished chapter of his life. Some say he appears confused, searching for something he lost, perhaps the hotel he never truly got to enjoy. One well-known story comes from a guest who checked into the hotel late at night and decided to walk the quiet halls before retiring. As he turned a corner, he nearly collided with a man in a gray suit who seemed to materialize from the shadows. The man muttered something inaudible and walked past, but when the guest glanced back, the corridor was empty. He later learned that his description matched dozens of other reports over the years. Housekeepers have also felt his presence. Several have refused to clean certain suites alone, claiming they hear footsteps pacing behind them when no one else is there. Others have reported the sensation of being watched, as though unseen eyes follow them through the rooms. Some even claim the elevator doors open on their own, as though summoned by an invisible passenger. It is not only the figure in gray who haunts the Chateau Laurier. Some believe the entire building carries a residual energy tied to its long and storied history. Politicians who once debated within its walls, celebrities who danced in its ballrooms, and soldiers who gathered there during the World Wars all left their mark. The hotel became a hub of emotion, celebration, grief, power, and intrigue, and echoes of these past lives seem to ripple through the air. One recurring story tells of a guest awakened in the middle of the night by whispers. At first, she thought the voices came from the hallway, but when she listened closer, they seemed to be inside the room itself. Fearing she was not alone, she turned on the lamp, only to find the room empty. The whispers stopped as suddenly as they had begun. The next morning, she learned that her room had once been the site of a sudden, unexplained death decades earlier. Other visitors describe cold spots that drift through otherwise warm rooms, or chandeliers that sway gently when no draft is present. Some have captured unexplained orbs of light in photographs, particularly in the grand halls and staircases, where the man in gray is most often seen. Staff members often say that, while the hotel feels alive with grandeur, it also carries a weight, as though its walls remember too much. Skeptics argue that the Chateau Laurier's reputation for hauntings is fueled by its dramatic history. The death of Hayes aboard the Titanic is the kind of story that invites ghostly speculation, and the hotel's sheer age ensures that deaths, sorrows, and mysteries are inevitably tied to its past. Yet those who have felt the chill of an unseen presence or glimpsed a gray-suited man insist that something more lingers there. What makes the Chateau Laurier unique among haunted hotels is its combination of tragedy and grandeur. Unlike a ruin or a forgotten asylum, this hotel remains a thriving symbol of luxury, bustling with guests and life. Yet, alongside the laughter of travelers and the hum of conversations, there is always a sense that another world presses in from the edges. In the soft glow of chandeliers and the quiet hush of the hallways, time seems to blur, and the living and the dead walk side by side. For many, the idea of Charles Melville Hayes haunting the halls is a poignant one. It suggests not a malevolent spirit, but a man unwilling or unable to let go of his greatest creation. Perhaps he wanders still, ensuring his dream is never forgotten, watching as generations of guests pass through the doors he intended to open himself. Some say that if you stand quietly in the grand lobby late at night, you may catch a glimpse of him, his shadow drifting across the marble floor, still searching for what he lost to the sea. The Chateau Laurier is more than a hotel. It is a monument to ambition, tragedy, and memory. Its walls hold not only history, but the lingering essence of those who shaped it. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, stepping into its gilded corridors carries a sense of stepping into another time, where the past is never far behind, and perhaps never truly gone at all. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, often called the Castle in the Rockies, has stood proudly in the heart of Alberta's Banff National Park since 1888. With its towering turrets, stone walls, and sweeping mountain views, it looks like something pulled straight out of a European fairy tale. It has hosted royalty, celebrities, and countless travelers who came to experience the breathtaking scenery of the Canadian Rockies. Yet, for all its grandeur and luxury, the Banff Springs has earned a second reputation, one not featured on travel brochures. Many believe the hotel is home to spirits who never truly checked out, lingering within its halls and ballrooms as if bound by unfinished business. One of the most well-known of these apparitions is the Bride. Her story dates back to the early 20th century, when a young couple held their wedding at the hotel. The bride, dressed in a flowing white gown, was said to be descending one of the grand staircases when tragedy struck. Some say she slipped on her veil and fell, while others whisper that she may have panicked and lost her footing. In either telling, she tumbled down the stairs to her death before the ceremony could be completed. Since then, countless guests and staff members have reported seeing her figure drifting through the halls, her gown glowing softly in the dim light. Some say she dances in the ballroom late at night, alone, still waiting for the wedding that never came. Others have claimed to hear faint sobs echoing in the stairwells, as if her grief lingers within the walls. But the bride is far from the only presence said to haunt the Banff Springs. Another chilling legend is tied to the mysterious room 873. According to local lore, a family once stayed there, only for tragedy to strike in the form of a violent death. Afterward, the room was permanently sealed, its doorway covered to prevent anyone from entering again. Today, visitors walking down the hallway swear they feel cold spots near where the door should be, and some claim to see faint outlines of a frame against the wall. Others report hearing knocks from behind the plaster or the sound of muffled screams. Though the hotel officially denies the story and explains that the missing room is due to renovations, the rumors have persisted for decades, fueling the idea that something dark occurred behind that vanished door. Then there is the tale of Sam the bellman, a longtime employee of the hotel, who became something of a legend himself. Known for his dedication and cheerful spirit, Sam reportedly loved his job so much that even death couldn't stop him from helping guests. Many visitors have told stories of being assisted by a friendly older bellman who matched Sam's description, only to later learn that no such staff member had been on duty. One couple recounted being locked out of their room late at night. An elderly bellman appeared, unlocked the door for them, and disappeared before they could even thank him. When they asked the front desk about him, they were shown a photo of Sam, and their jaws dropped in recognition. Even now, guests swear they encounter his ghostly figure in the hallways or by the elevators, still serving the hotel with loyalty from beyond the grave. Stranger still are the reports of shadowy figures that wander the grounds, seen against the backdrop of the mountains. Some staff members working late at night have spoken of hearing footsteps when no one is there, or doors opening and closing on their own. In the grand dining room, cutlery and glasses have been known to shift on their own, while chandeliers sway without cause. In the older wings of the hotel, sudden drops in temperature are common, and guests sometimes awaken to the sensation of being watched. What makes the Banff Springs so unique is the contrast between its warmth and luxury, and the icy grip of the supernatural that seems to touch it. During the day, families and travelers marvel at its castle-like charm, sipping drinks while overlooking the snow-capped peaks. Yet, when night falls, the hotel's atmosphere shifts. Its long hallways, dimly lit staircases, and cavernous ballrooms seem to come alive with whispers of the past. The sense of history here is undeniable, and with history often comes tragedy. Skeptics argue that the stories are just that, stories, a combination of folklore, imagination, and the natural eeriness of such a grand old building nestled deep in the mountains. After all, the human mind often finds patterns in shadows, and legends tend to grow with each retelling. But believers point to the consistency of the reports across decades. Generations of guests, many with no knowledge of the hotel's lore, have claimed to see the same apparitions. The bride in white, the sealed room, the helpful bellman. These tales resurface again and again, leaving even the doubtful unsettled. For those who stay at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, the experience is unforgettable. Whether they come seeking luxury, adventure, or something more mysterious. Some guests leave with only memories of fine dining, crisp mountain air, and the sight of elk grazing just beyond the hotel grounds. Others, however, leave with stories they will never forget, stories of fleeting glimpses in mirrors, unexplained chills, or a figure in a white gown gliding silently through the ballroom. The Fairmont Banff Springs is more than just a luxury retreat. It is a place where history and legend intertwine, where beauty and tragedy walk hand in hand. For every guest who comes to admire its views and architecture, there may be another who feels the brush of something unseen, a reminder that the past is never truly gone. In the heart of the Rockies, the castle in the mountains keeps its secrets well. But for those who wander its halls at night, the ghosts of the Banff Springs may be closer than they ever imagined, perched above the sparkling waters of Passamaquoddy Bay in St. Andrews, New Brunswick. The Algonquin Resort has been a landmark of elegance and history since 1889. Its grand red-tiled roof and Tudor Revival style make it look like something out of a fairy tale. But beneath its picturesque charm lies a reputation for the paranormal. Guests come for the luxury, but many leave with stories of things they cannot explain, tales that add to the hotel's legacy as one of the most haunted places in Canada. From the moment visitors step inside, there is a peculiar weight in the air. The polished wood floors gleam, chandeliers cast warm light, and the echoes of generations of laughter and footsteps seem almost alive. Yet alongside its welcoming atmosphere, the Algonquin carries whispers of tragedy, romance, and restless spirits. For over a century, guests and staff alike have reported strange encounters, most famously the apparition of a bride who never found her happy ending. The story goes that many decades ago, a young woman checked into the Algonquin with her. They were to be married in the hotel, celebrating their new life together in the grandeur of its ballrooms. But something went terribly wrong. Accounts differ. Some say her abandoned her. Others claim he was killed in an accident before the wedding could take place. Heartbroken beyond repair, the bride took her own life on what should have been her happiest day. Ever since, she has been seen wandering the halls of the Algonquin in her flowing white gown, her face pale and sorrowful. Guests tell of encountering her late at night, drifting silently along the grand staircase or standing near the windows overlooking the bay. She seems to be searching, as though still waiting for her lost love to return. Sometimes she disappears through a closed door. Other times she vanishes the moment someone blinks. Those who see her often describe an overwhelming sadness, as if her grief lingers in the very air. But the bride is not the only spirit said to remain within the Algonquin's walls. Some visitors report hearing whispers in the empty corridors, soft voices just out of earshot. At times, the sound of a piano has filled the ballroom, notes rising faintly through the silence, only for guests to discover the room deserted and the piano untouched. Others describe sudden drops in temperature while climbing the staircase, as though an unseen presence brushes past. More than a few claim they felt the distinct sensation of being watched, only to turn and find no one there. The hotel staff, who know the building better than anyone, have their own stories. Housekeepers speak of doors that lock and unlock themselves, or lights that flicker despite no electrical issues. Some staff members refuse to enter certain rooms alone after dark, unnerved by the inexplicable feelings of dread that seem to radiate there. The Algonquin's maintenance crews, too, have stories of tools disappearing only to reappear in unlikely places, as though some unseen hand had moved them. Perhaps one of the most unsettling reports involves guests who check into their rooms, only to wake in the middle of the night and see a figure standing at the foot of the bed. Often described as a shadowy outline, the figure remains still, watching silently before dissolving into the air. Some guests are so disturbed that they demand to leave immediately, unwilling to spend another moment in what they describe as a charged, haunted atmosphere. What makes the Algonquin's legends so compelling is the blending of beauty and eeriness. The resort is breathtaking, with its sweeping views of the bay, lush grounds, and timeless architecture. Yet within this setting, the stories of its ghostly inhabitants feel even more potent. Visitors find themselves torn between comfort and unease, luxury and dread, history and the supernatural. The Algonquin is a place where the past does not fade away, quietly lingers, interwoven with the present. For some, these tales are part of the resort's allure. Paranormal enthusiasts travel from across Canada and beyond to spend the night within its storied walls, hoping for a glimpse of the bride or to hear the phantom piano echo through the halls. Ghost tours and investigations often feature the Algonquin as a highlight, its history providing fertile ground for speculation and storytelling. Skeptics might dismiss the stories as tricks of the imagination, fueled by the atmosphere of an old building and the power of suggestion. Yet those who have experienced strange events firsthand find it difficult to explain away. How can one account for seeing a woman in a white gown vanish into thin air? How does one rationalize the sound of a piano playing in an empty room, or the sudden chill of an invisible presence passing by? The Algonquin Resort is more than a hotel. It is a living monument to time itself. Within its walls, love, loss, and longing have carved impressions that seem to echo endlessly. Whether these phenomena are spirits of the past or simply the echoes of memory imprinted upon the building, the effect is the same. The Algonquin leaves an indelible mark on those who walk its halls. Visitors come for luxury and relaxation, but many leave with something unexpected, a brush with the unexplainable. Long after they've departed, the memory of whispers in the corridor, or a fleeting glimpse of a pale figure in a gown, stays with them. And perhaps that is the true legacy of the Algonquin Resort, not just as a place of beauty, but as a place where the past still speaks, hauntingly alive in the present. And there you have it. 25 of the most haunted hotels in Canada, each with its own dark history and lingering spirits. From majestic castles in the Rockies to centuries-old inns on the Atlantic coast, these hotels are more than just places to stay. They are doorways into the unknown, where echoes of the past refuse to fade. If you ever find yourself wandering the halls of these haunted accommodations, listen closely, feel the air around you, and remember, sometimes the ghosts are more present than the living. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey through Canada's haunted hotels. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a step into the shadows. Until next time, beware of the spirits that linger where the lights go dim and the night stretches long.